Every night, I cover my girlfriend's feet with smelly mud. Then I sprinkle a pound of flour on top. Right after, I pretend to fall asleep. But every night at 2 a.m., she wakes up. She pulls out one of my hairs and sneaks outside. So I follow the footprints she leaves on the ground. But what I didn't expect was, just when I was about to find out where she was going, I ran into a little girl who was about to be hit by a big truck. In a split second, I rushed over and saved her. But I was knocked 10 meters away, barely hanging on to life. At the moment my heart was about to stop beating, a cold mechanical voice exploded in my mind. God-tier Tycoon system successfully bound. 10 billion in system funds has been deposited under host the Chuan's name. Black card received, golden eye skill. Can see the value of all things. Master level mind reading skill acquired. Can take on 100 opponents. I suddenly opened my eyes. I felt my body now was filled with a power I've never experienced before. I could even see and hear a Maybach racing in from 5 kilometers away. In less than 2 minutes, the black Maybach pulled up in front of me. A long, straight, beautiful leg wrapped in black stockings stepped out. He rushed madly toward the crowd.
Tang Tang.
Tang Tang, where are you, auntie? The girl I saved suddenly burst into tears. A woman ran over and scooped Tang Tang up in her arms. After confirming Tang Tang only had minor scrapes, she immediately looked up at me, her eyes full of deep gratitude. Sir, thank you for saving Tang Tang. I'm Shen of Shen Group. What can I do for you? I'd give up everything the Shen family owns if you asked. The Chuan stared at the woman before him. Her information appeared on his retina. Age 25, identity, general manager of Shen Group. Net worth, over 80 billion. Before today, this would have been the Chuan's best chance to make a comeback in this city, to get in with the Shen family and ask for a huge reward. Even now with 100 billion, the Chuan still couldn't compete with even a fraction of the Shen family's wealth. But the Chuan simply looked at her calmly and said, no need. Then disappeared into the rainy night. Shen Yanshu watched the Chuan's back, then told the assistant behind her, I want all his information in 3 minutes. He's my benefactor. I, Shen Yangxi, will never let him just disappear like this. Back home, the Chuan turned his eyes to the 2 people on the wall. The Chuan's golden eye memory tracing ability activated. Soon he learned the mastermind behind his parents' deaths was his stepmother Qian Yulin. As for his girlfriend Zhao Mengyao, she sneaks out every night to meet up with some rich kid. Alright, then I'll start with stepmother Qian Yulin. Then I'll find Zhao Mengyao. I want Zhao Mengyao and that rich kid she's clinging to not even be able to deliver takeout. The only thing left for them is to beg on the streets. Early next morning, the Chuan arrived at the family villa. Just as the Chuan stepped inside, he heard the sounds of chaos from the main hall, and Qian Yulin's hysterical screams. Stop smashing things. I'll have it settled soon. Get the Chuan to sign over the inheritance transfer papers. Then this villa will be mine. And I'll finally have the money to pay you guys back. A slap cut off his crying instantly. Chuan pushed open the door and entered. The living room was a total mess. The always arrogant Qian Yulin was on her knees with disheveled hair, a bright red handprint on her face. In the center of the room sat Brother Dao, a lone shark from Zhangcheng's underworld. Behind him were 4 thugs holding steel pipes. The Chuan strolled in nonchalantly, completely ignoring everyone as he walked to the middle of the room. Brother Dao, seeing the Chuan ignore him, instantly bellowed.
He reached out, about to smack the Chuan's face.
Hey, this is the useless young master, right? The Chuan abruptly turned to look at Brother Dao. His info appeared in the Chuan's mind as well. Target, Sang Bao. Combat power, 65, average. Peak ordinary person. Weakness, extremely superstitious and suffers from a strange illness. Every night at midnight, his heart suffers intense pain. The Chuan didn't move, just calmly said, if your hand touches my face, you won't ever be able to hold chopsticks again in this life. Also, your angina hits right at midnight every night, doesn't it? You can read faces? Brother Dao's hand froze in midair. Not even his nin knew that secret. How does this kid know? The Chuan gave no response and walked straight to the upturned display shelf, looking for a purple sandalwood box left behind by his mother. Qian Yulen, seeing Brother Dao not take action, immediately got up and shrieked, telling Brother Dao that the Chuan was the top heir, forcing him to sign the property papers. Then the house will be yours. Brother Dao's eyes flickered. Up against tens of millions in debt, a little fear didn't matter.
His face turned grim.
Brothers, hold this brat down. If he doesn't sign today, break one of his fingers. Right after, the four thugs charged at the Chuan with steel pipes in hand. The Chuan turned his back to them and sighed. Why do you have to force me to get rough? Before he even finished speaking, he suddenly spun around and threw a simple side kick. Bang! The thug in the lead flew back like he'd been hit by a truck, soaring 5 meters, and slammed hard into the wall. Passed out cold instantly. The room was dead silent. The remaining 3 thugs skidded to a stop, gulping nervously. The Chuan put down his leg, walked over to the coffee table, and found the sandalwood box left by his mother. He wiped off the dust, then turned to dumbfounded Qian Yulen. Qian Yulen, haven't you always wanted this house? And the family assets? Then I'll give them to you now. Qian Yulen froze in shock. The Chuan looked at Brother Dao, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth.
He took out the black bank card.
Did you bring the card, reader? Yeah, I've got it. Total is 58 million. The Chuan tossed over the card. Charged the whole amount. Qian Yulen's eyes filled with wild joy. This idiot is actually willing to pay off her debt. She immediately started shaking with excitement. The Chuan, at least you know what's good for you. Since you're paying off my debt, we're even now. Get out, this house is completely mine now. But in the next second, the Chuan's words sent her straight to hell. Who said I'm paying off your debt? He looked at Qian Yulen, a mischievous look in his eyes. This money is for purchasing your debt. From now on, you owe it all to me. Qian Yulen's smile froze. Brother Dao caught on instantly and switched to a completely different attitude, glowering fiercely at Qian Yulen. Boss Qian, your creditor is now young master the. By the way, young master the, is there anything I can do for you? Need me to collect any interest for you? Brother Dao decided to stick close to the Chuan like glue. The Chuan walked to the door holding the sandalwood box. He stopped in his tracks. He looked at Qian Yulen. I'll give you only 2 options. First, move out of this villa immediately. Leave with nothing but yourself. You're not allowed to take a single piece of clothing. Second, pay back the debt you owe me within 3 days. If you're a second late, I'll call the police. I'll sue you for fraud and embezzlement. If you don't make sure Qian Yulen pays on time, I'll sue you for intentional injury. The surveillance at the door is proof. These charges are enough to lock both of you away for life. After saying that, the Chuan strode out of the villa. Behind him came Qian Yulen's heart-wrenching sobs, and the sound of Dage's crew smashing things as they started clearing out the place. Listening to these noises, the Chuan stood in the sunlight, feeling completely refreshed. But in the next second, the system issued a new mission. Please spend 100 million within 2 hours. Failure punishment. A random bodily function will be deducted from the host. For example, being stuck at 3 seconds forever. The Chuan looked at this punishment. The corner of his mouth twitched. System. You're pretty ruthless. But spending money. This is probably the easiest mission in the world. The Chuan stopped a taxi.
He headed straight for Jiangcheng Dingsheng Mall SKP.
As soon as the Chuan got out of the car, a red Ferrari rumbled arrogantly to a stop in front of him. It stopped right in front of him. The car window rolled down. It was his ex-girlfriend Zhao Mengyao. He took off his sunglasses, his eyes full of contempt. Well, isn't this the Chuan? I heard you were kicked out and started delivering takeout. Why are you delivering in a high-end place like this? The security here doesn't even let beggars in. Back when the family had trouble, Zhao Mingyao dumped the Chuan at lightning speed and rushed into the arms of a rich kid. The Chuan looked at her, and not only wasn't angry, he actually smiled. Perfect, my spend money mission. Could use an audience. Yeah, here to beg. The Chuan adjusted his cuffs, smiling brightly. But I'm not begging for food today. I'm taking the whole mall. At that moment, the car door opened. Zhao Mingyao emerged, holding the arm of a man in a Versace floral shirt. They got out of the car. The man with beady eyes sized the Chuan up and down, his face full of mockery. Yao, is this your ex, the takeout guy? Pretty boy looks decent. Too bad he's dirt poor. Even the AC here charges by the minute. Can you afford 10 minutes with one delivery? Zhao Mingyao clung to the man's arm, laughing uncontrollably. Let me introduce you, the Chuan. This is my current husband, Sun Yu. His family is in the construction materials business. They're worth several hundred million.
He emphasized the words several hundred million.
He looked provocatively at the Chuan, as if expecting to see inferiority or anger on his face, or at least embarrassment. But he was disappointed. The Chuan just stood there calmly, his eyes indifferent, as if looking at the air on either side. Move aside. The Chuan stepped forward, his tone flat. You just don't know how to appreciate kindness, huh? Sun Yu was irritated by the Chuan's indifference. He took a big step forward, blocking the Chuan's way. He reached out to push the Chuan's shoulder. Just as Sun Yu's hand was about to reach the Chuan, a golden light flashed deep in the Chuan's eyes. Sun Yu's information was displayed. Target, Sun Yu. Identity, second generation nouveau rich. All bark, no bite. Currently wearing a Versace shirt. Richard Mille RM011 fake, but the strap is genuine. Movement is a domestic Dandong movement old model. Strap is authentic. Financial status, credit cards maxed out. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Rented a Ferrari to chase Zhao Mingyao. Hasn't even paid the first day's rent. After reading it, the curve of the Chuan's mouth turned playful. He leaned closer to Sun Yu, lowered his voice, just enough for a few passing pedestrians to hear. What a shame. The carbon fiber pattern on an authentic Richard Mille is random. But your pattern is way too neat. Also, a real model's date window is beveled. It's 1:59 now. Why don't we watch and see? When it hits 2 o'clock sharp, if your watch can jump over properly. Sun Yu's expression changed instantly. He had really bought that watch for 3,000 yuan as a replica, specifically to trick gold diggers like Zhao Mingyao. But he never thought a takeout guy would see through it at a glance. Bullshit, this is a real watch. What do you know? Sun Yu subconsciously covered his wrist, trying to sound tough but clearly nervous. Yao, don't bother with that mad dog. Let's go get you a bag at Hermes. He grabbed the confused Zhao Mingyao as he spoke, and started rushing into the mall, clearly just trying to get away. Perfect, I need to buy something too. Let's go together. The Chuan followed unhurriedly behind them. This is SKP. If you can even afford a pair of socks here, I'll eat them on the spot. I'll remember you said that. The Chuan stepped through the revolving door, walking into the air-conditioned mall lobby. SKP's first floor is full of the world's top luxury brands. The air is filled with the scent of expensive perfumes. Welcome, Patek Philippe. The hostess at the entrance bowed. But when she saw Sun Yu and Zhao Mingyao coming in right after, her eyes lit up noticeably. Her smile turned even brighter. Sir, madam, welcome. Eager to flex again, Sun Yu deliberately said loudly, show me the most expensive watch you have. I want to pick one for my girlfriend. With that, he shot a provocative look at the Chuan. What, the delivery guy is here for the free AC too? Be careful not to break the glass counter. You couldn't afford it even if you sold yourself. A few sales consultants inside quickly gathered around Sun Hyo-yu. The Chuan was left out on the side. Only a young woman, just out of school, with an intern badge, hesitantly walked over to the Chuan and handed him a glass of water. Sir. Hello, is there anything I can help you with? If you're just looking, that's totally fine. The young woman's eyes were clear, showing no contempt just because of the Chuan's outfit. I'm not looking. The Chuan took a sip of water and said flatly. Did you hear that? He's not even looking. Told you he's just here for the air conditioning. Where's security? You let just anyone in here. Zhao Mingyao laughed out loud when she heard that. She immediately snickered. A senior saleswoman walked over. Her tone was stiff. Sir, if you don't plan to buy anything, please don't occupy our service resources. There's a lounge area over there. The Chuan ignored the saleswoman. Instead, he looked at the intern in front of him. He smiled slightly, then pointed to the starry sky display in the center of the counter, swept his gaze over the entire row of Nautilus watches nearby. This starry sky model, and this whole row. I'll take them all. The entire room went utterly silent. Yo, did you hear that? He said he'll take them all. These must add up to more than 20 million, right? Is this guy so dumb from delivering food? Sun Hyo-yu burst out laughing wildly. Sir, please don't joke around. This is Patek Philippe, not a food market. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll call security. The senior sales clerk's face suddenly turned cold. She thought the Chuan was just making trouble. Sir, that Starry Sky 6102P sells for 2.8 million. Plus VIPQ qualification is required. The junior sales girl was terrified. She stammered. Qualification? The Chuan reached into the pocket of his jeans that cost just a few bucks and pulled out a black card. He gently placed it on the glass counter. It made a crisp sound. Go swipe it. Password is 6/8. If it doesn't go through, I'll eat this counter. The Chuan's voice wasn't loud, but carried an undeniable pressure. The junior sales girl took the card, hands trembling. She looked at the manager as if pleading for help. The store manager was a worldly, middle-aged man. He had been watching the Chuan all along. The moment he saw the black card, his pupils sharply contracted. That's the legendary Centurion Infinite Black Card. No, wait. Its material is even higher end than the black card. This is the Supreme Dragon card. Only 10 exist worldwide. Hurry, go swipe it. Bring the POS machine over. I'll swipe it myself. Pretending, just keep pretending. Who are you fooling with a barbershop membership card? Let's see if you actually swipe anything. Sun Hyo-yu kept laughing. Transaction successful. The sound of the POS machine printing the receipt felt like God's judgment. The store manager stared at the receipt. That dizzying line of zeros almost knelt to the Chuan. Honored sir. A 28.5 million transaction has been completed. We'll pack these watches for you right away. Would you like them delivered to your residence or something else? No need. The manager held the black card with both hands, bowed 90 degrees. His attitude was humbler than dust. The Chuan casually put the 2.8 million Starry Sky watch on his wrist and gave it a shake. The rest, just put them in a bag. I'll carry them myself. Bag, a bag. The manager was stunned. Using a bag for watches worth millions. Sun Hyo and Zhao Mingyao were completely frozen. How is that possible? Wasn't the family bankrupt? Wasn't he kicked out of the house? He didn't even blink when swiping the card. Not even once. Sun Hyo felt his face, like he was slapped hard. It burned with pain. He was just showing off his fake 1.5 million watch. And the guy went and bought a real one over 20 million. Just like that. Packed it up like vegetables and took them away. Zhao Mingyao was even more dumbfounded, staring at the Chuan's wrist. That dazzling Starry Sky watch. She was beyond regret. Yeah. The Chuan. Zhao Mingyao's voice trembled, trying to squeeze out a seductive smile. She shook off Sun Haoyu's hand and moved closer to the Chuan. So you were testing me all along? Honestly, I never forgot you. Sun Hyo-yu was just annoyingly chasing after me. I never loved him. Leave. The Chuan didn't even look at her. Just left a single word. Who said they'd eat a sock earlier? He glanced at Sun Haoyu, whose face was pale. Sun Haoyu stepped back and hit the counter. What do you want? My dad is, I'm not interested in your dad. The Chuan turned and walked out. As he passed by the senior sales clerk who looked down on him, he paused briefly. Sir. The commission for this sale goes entirely to her. The Chuan pointed at the junior sales girl. As for you, I hope I won't see you here next time. Understood, I'll fire Zhao Shen right now. You should be thanking this gentleman. Your commission today is enough to buy a house in Jiangcheng. After leaving Patek Philippe, the Chuan glanced at the system panel. 25.5 million spent. Remaining credit 71.5 million. Remaining time, 1 hour and 20 minutes. He headed directly into the nearby Armani flagship store. Sir, would you like an introduction to anything? Give me 3 of every L-size new season item on this floor. Bring over those limited edition Gucci crocodile suitcases next door. Use them to pack the clothes. Take 100 sets of the entire Halen's Mystery collection. Give them to my delivery brothers to wipe their hands. For the next hour, the entire SKP mall was shaken like never before. A mysterious tycoon wearing Uniqlo swept through every luxury brand like an unstoppable force. He never looked at the price.
He only said, swipe the card and pack it up.
The mall GM personally led 20 security guards, following behind, responsible for carrying the stuff. Sun Haoyu and Zhao Mengyao were like forgotten clowns, stupidly trailing behind. Where did he get all that money? Zhao Mingyao's nails dug into her flesh. Her eyes turned red. It must be dirty money. I'm going to report him. Dear customers, SKP will close half an hour early today. An honored guest reserved the top floor Sky Garden restaurant and invited famed piano master Lang Lang for a live performance. The whole crowd was in uproar. The Chuan stood at the escalator on the second floor with a slight smile. This was another consumption project arranged by the system. He glanced at the system panel. Mission accomplished. Current spending, 100.5 million. Congratulations to the host for completing the first Splurge achievement. Reward, 10x cash rebate. Critical hit. 1 billion cash has been deposited into your account. The 51% share transfer contract for Jiangcheng SKP Mall has taken effect. Charisma plus 10. Constitution plus 10. The Chuan was stunned for a moment. SKP is now his. The mall's general manager received a call.
Boss.
I didn't know you were coming. Please forgive me for not greeting you properly. I am Zhao Juan, the general manager of SKP. You have acquired 51% of the group's shares. From now on, you are the one in charge here. This Neil left everyone around completely dumbfounded. Sun Heo was so scared that he fell back onto the floor. The Chuan looked at Zhao Juan kneeling on the ground. Get up. Since I am the boss, then I am now issuing my first command. He pointed at Sun Haoyu and Zhao Mengyao not far away. These 2 people are ruining my shopping mood. Throw them out. From now on at all malls under SK. These 2 are banned from stepping foot inside. Also, that fake watch on that guy's wrist. It's an eyesore. Help him take it off. Do it. 20 security guards lunged forward like wolves and tigers. Let go of me. No, the Chuan. I'm Yao Yao. My dad won't let you get away with this. I'm the one you love the most. You just wait. You just wait. Let go. Sun Haoyu was still shouting defiantly. The next second he was pinned to the ground. The fake watch was forcibly stripped off and crushed under a boot. The screams gradually faded into the distance. The Chuan stood at the top of the escalator, overlooking this commercial empire that belonged to him.
His phone rang.
An unknown number. Hello? Is this Mr. the Chuan? I am Shen Yoshu. I heard you just bought SKP. I'm currently at the cafe downstairs at SKP. Shen Yoshu. So he's been here all along. All right, I happen to be hungry too. But I don't drink coffee. One want to eat malatang. Will President Shen do me the honor? Fine. As long as you are willing to meet me, I'll eat anything. The Chuan hung up the phone with a bright smile. It seems the next game will be even more interesting. The night in Jiangcheng was like a thick blob of ink, punctured by the hustle and bustle of Hongxing Street in the old district, burning out bizarre, glowing holes. A Rolls-Royce Phantom with the license plate Jianghe 88888, like an aristocrat who took a wrong turn into the slums, carefully navigated over the potholed and waterlogged road, and stopped at the entrance of Fat Sister's Malatang shop. The automatic doors opened, and Shen Yunshu stepped out. The Chuan, sitting on a red plastic stool by the roadside, looked up, snapping apart a pair of disposable chopsticks in his hands. What, is President Shen afraid it's dirty? Stacked beside him were the results of his SKP shopping spree, dozens of designer shopping bags. The Chuan blew the dust off a plastic stool. Sit down. The beef balls here are the chewiest in all of Jiangcheng. Shen Yunshu took a deep breath and sat down opposite the Chuan. Mr. Li, you are very humorous. Shen Yunshu looked at the Chuan. I thought, a big shot worth tens of billions who buys SKP on a whim would have higher requirements for a dining environment. Money is meant to make life freer, not to put yourself in shackles. Order some food, President Shen. You're the one treating, as agreed. Don't be afraid to order just because it's cheap. Shen Yunshu looked at the menu. 2 yuan for the pot base, 1 yuan for kelp. Her feelings were complicated. She had investigated the Chuan 24 hours ago.
He was still a delivery man struggling for a few bucks,
Working desperately in the rain. And now he was sitting across from her, with an aura so profound that even a business veteran like her couldn't see through him. Just a little of everything. Shen Yunshu put down the menu. Mr. The... Let's talk business. About saving Tang Tang. And about your acquisition of SKP. No business talk during meals. It's bad for digestion, boss. 2 large bowls, mildly spicy with extra vinegar. Coming right up, Xiao Chuan. Brought your girlfriend today? She's beautiful. This girl looks a bit thin. She needs to eat more. This meal is on me. Shen Yunshu's face instantly turned red to the ears. She waved her hands repeatedly. No. I'm his creditor. The Chuan cut in with a smile, naturally picking up the vinegar bottle and pouring a large circle into Shen Yunshu's bowl. Try it. The soul of this place is in the vinegar. With the Chuan's interruption, Shen Yunshu's tense negotiating posture instantly deflated by half. She hesitated for a moment, but still picked up a piece of baby cabbage and put it in her mouth. Spicy and piping hot. Sour and refreshing. The intense taste stimulation made her cough lightly, even bringing tears to her eyes. Eat slowly, no one's competing with you. The Chuan handed her a tissue. Shen Yunshu took the tissue and somewhat awkwardly wiped the corner of her mouth. At that moment, she took off the indestructible armor she wore daily, revealing a spark of real life. Shen Yunshu suddenly spoke, her voice lowering slightly. The Chuan, thank you. Not just for saving Tang Tang, but also, actually, SKP has been blocking our company's advertising slots. Renew if you hadn't bought SKP. The Shen Group's new product launch next month might have fallen through. While the Chuan was eating beef balls, he activated the golden pupils. Strings of red data appeared above her head, flashing wildly. Target, Shen Yunshu. Identity, CEO of Shen Group. Current status, extremely anxious. At her wit's end. Core Crisis 1, broken capital chain. Trapped and being bled dry by competitor Tiansheng Capital. Funding gap reaches 800 million. Core Crisis 2, internal trader. Design director Zhou Peng has been bribed by Tiansheng Capital. Plans to leak core bidding prices at tomorrow morning's meeting. Core Crisis 3, signed a gambling agreement with the Family Elders Council. If no profit is made this quarter, will be stripped of the CEO position and forced to marry the eldest son of Tiansheng Capital. Marriage alliance breakdown countdown, 12 hours. The Chuan's chewing motion paused. Tragic. So tragic. She's not a CEO. She's practically a piece of meat being roasted over a fire. The Chuan put down his chopsticks, looking at her with a half smile. To be honest, what you're worried about now shouldn't be the venue for the launch event, right? As far as I know, on your company's books, I'm afraid you can't even afford the rental fee for SKP.
Anymore?
She stared intently at the Chuan. How do you know? The company's financial status is top secret. Even the vice president doesn't know. Are you a corporate spy? I am your savior. Not a spy. The Chuan pulled out a tissue, naturally taking her hand and helping her wipe away the oil stain on the back of it. His fingers were long and warm. Shen Yunshu jolted as if shocked by electricity. But he didn't pull his hand back. And not only do I know you're broke, I also know the reason you're in such a mess. It's because you've been betrayed by someone close to you. A traitor. Shen Yunshu's face turned deathly pale. Just then, Shen Yunshu's phone started vibrating like crazy. Caller ID Design Director Zhou Peng. Shen Yunshu glanced at the Chuan. The Chuan made a go-ahead gesture. He answered the call. Hello, Director Zhou. How's tomorrow's bid proposal coming along? A nervous and guilty voice came from the other end. President Shen, something huge just happened. Our server was just hacked. What? All the design drafts and data for Project Oasis have been locked and destroyed. The backup hard drive is also dead. Shen Yunshu shot up out of his seat. The sudden movement knocked over the plastic red stool behind him. How is that possible? Our firewall is top-notch, and the backup drive is in your safe. How could it have failed? I don't know either. President Shen, the bid is at 9 a.m. tomorrow. It's impossible to redo everything in time now. Seems like Tiansheng Capital already has their proposal ready. We're done for. The phone slipped from Shen Yunshu's hand and crashed to the ground. He felt as if his spine had just been ripped out. His whole body went limp, trying to sit down, but forgot the stool was already knocked over. Right as he was about to hit the dirty, oily floor, the Chuan caught him with one hand and calmly picked up the phone with the other. He spoke into the still-connected call to Director Zhou. Nice performance. The Oscars owe you a golden statue. The caller was clearly stunned. Who are you? Where's President Shen? The Chuan sneered into the phone. Who I am doesn't matter. What matters is, Zhou Peng, you better pray right now that the 20 million yuan hush money from Tiansheng Capital is enough to buy you a decent wheelchair. With that, the Chuan hung up directly, then tossed the phone back on the table. Shen Yunshu leaned against the Chuan's chest, trembling all over. His eyes were hollow. Right now he was no longer an IC CEO, but a woman who had hit absolute rock bottom. It's over. That was our last chance to turn the tables. No design drafts. We'll be in breach of contract tomorrow. I'll owe 300 million in compensation. The Shen family will eat me alive. Don't panic, the Chuan's voice sounded especially clear amid the noisy night market. It was steady with a calming power. He steadied Shen Yunshu, putting both hands on his shoulders, and forced him to look into his eyes. We can redraw the designs. We can make the money back. As long as you're still alive, the game isn't over. There's no time to redraw them. Shen Yunshu's eyes were red from tears, on the verge of crying. There's less than 10 hours left. Those drafts took dozens of designers 3 months. Who says we're out of time? The Chuan let go, turned and picked up the branded shopping bags from the floor.
His gaze
Shimmered with the excitement of a hunter spotting prey. Where are we going? To your company. Since Zhou Peng claims the data's destroyed, I'll show him what a real miracle looks like. Tonight, let's play a ghost hunting game. Half an hour later, Jiangcheng CBD, Shen Group Tower. The whole building was brightly lit. The design department was in chaos. Dozens of designers stared at computer screens gone black, tearing their hair out. Some were crying, some were swearing. Director Zhou Peng was in the center, pretending to direct the IT team in emergency repairs, but he kept glancing nervously at his watch, a barely noticeable smug smile on his lips. All he had to do was stall until morning, and once Shen Yunshu was ruined tomorrow, he'd be off to Tiansheng capital for his VP job with the cash. Just then, a commotion erupted at the door. President Shen is here. Zhou Peng instantly put on a sorrowful expression and walked up. President Shen, you're finally here. I failed you. But he didn't see the devastated, hopeless Shen Yunshu he'd imagined. Instead, Shen Yunshu strode in confidently. His eyes were still a bit red, but his presence was sharper than ever. And right by his side followed a young man in Armani, carrying a takeout bag of mala hot pot in a plastic container. President Shen, this is... Zhou Peng was taken aback. I'm here to make a delivery. The Chuan casually set the bag of mala hot pot on the conference table, then walked straight up to Zhou Peng. The look in the Chuan's eyes made Zhou Peng shiver. President Shen, at a time like this, why bring outsiders to mess things up? Director Zhou, you really are overacting here. The Chuan pointed at the row of blacked-out computers. You said the server was hacked, and all the data is gone. Of course, Zhou Peng replied stiffly. The IT department is working on it. Is that so? The Chuan walked up to the main console, his fingers flying across the keyboard. Host is using god-level hacking skill, permanently infiltrating Ruyuan network, tracking data streams, restoring underlying code. Suddenly, the strings of garbled code started jumping like crazy. Green code scrolled too fast for the eye to follow. The IT manager next to him was stunned. How fast can you even type? He's writing a reverse tracing program. In less than a minute, the Chuan hit the enter key. The previously black screen immediately lit up, but instead of the design files, surveillance footage played back on the screen, along with screenshots of a detailed chat record. The footage showed Zhou Peng half an hour earlier, plugging a USB drive into the main server, and messaging someone labeled as Zhao Tiansheng. Message, it's done. Data deleted. That stupid woman Shen Yunshu is finished. The entire room fell silent. Every designer glared at Zhou Peng like knives. All eyes on him. Zhou Peng's face turned purple with rage. This is fabricated. This is slander. President Shen, do you believe this? Why should I trust a delivery guy? Shen Yunshu stared at the screen, his heart aching. Security. Take this traitor and detain him. Call the police immediately. Security, who had long had enough, charged forward. Shen Yunshu, if you dare arrest me, you'll have no design team left. And you'll be finished tomorrow too. Huh, I'd like to see you pull off a comeback. Zhou Peng was still laughing hysterically as he was dragged off. But the design plans are really gone. The office once again fell into desperate silence. The technical director timidly asked the expert, since you can recover the surveillance footage, can the design plans be restored too? They were physically destroyed. There's no way to recover them. The Chuan shook his head. Everyone's hearts sank to rock bottom. But then the Chuan changed the topic. He walked over and sat in the main seat at the conference table. He opened a box of spicy hot pot. Casually, he said those trashy design plans. If they're destroyed, so be it. Using those to compete in the bidding. That's just embarrassing. What did you say? The assistant director of the design department was pissed. That's 3 months of our hard work. The Chuan ignored the angry crowd. Instead, he looked at Shen Yunshu. Do you have a stylus? And paper? Shen Yunshu was stunned for a moment. Instinctively handed over her tablet. And the stylus? What are you planning to do? The Chuan took the pen, spun it skillfully in his hand. At that moment, the system in his mind activated again. Detected. Host is facing a god-tier rescue scenario. Redeem item. Top Future Advertising Design Reference 2035 edition. Redeem. Suddenly, the Chuan's eyes were flooded with a kaleidoscope of colors that surpassed this era. Lines and composition. It was a visual shock from the future. Since you all see it as your hard work, the Chuan started drawing, while speaking calmly. Tonight I'll show you all what real art looks like. Over the next hour, everyone in Shen Group's design department underwent a collapse and rebuild of their worldview. The man they'd always seen as a delivery guy was like a humanoid AI printer. His hand moved so fast it left afterimages. Each sketch was breathtakingly beautiful, with explosively creative concepts appearing on screen. Light and perspective. This is a perfect fusion of cyberpunk and Chinese trends. This light manipulation, God, that's incredible. This is a masterpiece. Even the assistant who just doubted the Chuan was now kneeling beside him, handing him water. When the last main visual was finished, the Chuan tossed the pen aside. He rubbed his wrist. On the screen was a poster titled Rebirth. In the ruins depicted, a mechanical rose bloomed in the torrential rain. That imagery was just like the Chuan himself, and just like Shen Yunshu in Desperate Times. Shen Yunshu stared at the painting as tears silently rolled down. The Chuan. He turned his head and looked at the man who was eating cold, spicy hot pot. At that moment, her mental defenses completely collapsed. Don't be moved too soon. The Chuan swallowed a meatball. The drawings are done. Next, it's time to reel in the net. Tomorrow morning at the bidding meeting, I want Tianshan Capital to pay back every penny they took, plus interest. He stood up, walked over to the floor-to-ceiling window, looking down at the night view of Jiangcheng. President Shen, do you dare play big with me? Shen Yunshu walked to his side, standing shoulder to shoulder with him. Her eyes were no longer confused, but filled with determination. Why wouldn't I dare? Even if I lose, I'll just deliver food with you. The Chuan laughed. Delivering food probably won't work. He turned his head sideways. My passenger seat is reserved for the boss lady. Jiangcheng International Exhibition Center. Today is the final bidding day for Jiangcheng New District's flagship project, the City of the Future Commercial Complex. This is a $100 billion pie. It's about who can become Jiangcheng's business overlord for the next decade. A flashy neon green Lamborghini rolled in. With an explosive roar, it brazenly parked in the VIP spot, even taking up more than one space. The scissors doors lifted up. Out stepped a young man in a white suit, hair slicked back shining. Wu Zixuan, the prince of Tianshan capital. Behind him was Zhou Peng with a sycophantic smile. Shen Group's former design director just bailed out last night. Don't worry, young Master Wu. Shen Yunshu is completely finished. Zhou Peng, dark circles under his eyes, his face still swollen, but his eyes were full of excitement. I deleted the data myself, even used a strong magnet to wipe the hard drive. Unless a divine being comes down, they'll only embarrass themselves with a blank page today. Good work. Once Shen Group goes bankrupt, that proud woman Shen Yunwei will be at my mercy. Just then, a black Audi A6 slowly drove in. That's Shen Yunshu's car. Compared to the supercars around, this car looked overly modest, even a bit shabby. Wu Zixuan whistled, swaggered over with Zhou Peng to block the car door. Hey, isn't this our beautiful Miss Shen? The car door opened. Shen Yunshu stepped out. After a night of agony and transformation, her condition was surprisingly good today. No more anxiety in her almond eyes. And in the driver's seat behind her, stepped out a young man. The Chuan, of course. Today, to match Shen Yunshu, he specially wore a deep gray business casual suit. No tie, but looking effortlessly classy. He was carrying a silver metal briefcase. Hello, young Master Wu. Dogs don't block the road, Shen Yunshu said coldly. Unbelievable, still tough when facing doom. I heard your design department was crying like crazy last night. Even the server burned up. So today, you're just here to announce quitting and beg me to buy your company. He greedily eyed Shen Yunshu's figure and lowered his voice. If you come to my room tonight, I might raise the acquisition price. Before he could finish, a hand suddenly reached out, waving in front of Wu Zixuan like shooing a fly. Hey, whoever you are over there. Tone down the bad breath. You're stinking up my boss. Who the hell are you? This isn't your place to talk. Just a chauffeur. Young Master Wu, that's the delivery guy from last night. That damn mouth of his ruined our plans. A delivery guy. Wu Zixuan laughed, almost doubled over. Shen Yun, are you nuts? Bringing a delivery guy to the billion-dollar bidding? What? Are you planning to bribe the judges with spicy hot pot? He activated the golden eye. Target, Wu Zixuan, extremely confident. Kidney deficiency, level 2. Items on hand. Bid document hidden in inside pocket. A bottle of blue pills. Review panel has been bribed. Head judge, Professor Liu. The transfer records are stored in his encrypted phone. Bribing the judges. That's interesting. You're Mr. Wu, right? Did those seal pills you had last night expire? Your face looks dark and ominous. I'm afraid you might face some serious trouble today. And then there's that old school Professor Liu. He's got a big mouth. That little tea money you offered. Be careful, it might not be enough. Wu Zixuan's smile instantly froze. His pupils contracted sharply. How does this guy know about Hegu Bei? More importantly, how does he know about Professor Liu's situation? Before he could react, the Chuan was already grabbing Shen Yunshu's arm, as if sidestepping a pile of garbage, and walking straight to the elevator. The Chuan, what did you just say to him? Why does he look so pale? It's nothing. I just read his fortune. President Shen, just focus on your PPT later. Leave the rest to me. The atmosphere in the bidding hall was tense and cold. 5 judges sat upright on the main stage. The bald old man in the center was none other than industry authority Professor Liu. The audience was filled with key business figures from Jiangcheng. In the back rows, media reporters were lined up with cameras. Now let's welcome Tiansheng Capital for their proposal presentation. As the host finished speaking, Wu Zixuan took Zhou Peng onto the stage. Although the Chuan had startled him earlier, now that they're on their home turf, Wu Zixuan regained his arrogant and domineering demeanor. Honorable judges, distinguished guests, our proposal from Tiansheng Capital is Urban Oasis. We're going to create a sky garden that integrates ecology and technology as one. As the PPT slides changed, there was an uproar in the audience. That's our original plan. He was gripping his clothes tightly, knuckles turning white. That's right, even though Zhou Peng deleted Su Shi's original file, he brought a copy to Wu Zixuan. The current Urban Oasis project, except for the name change, is basically a pixel-perfect copy of Shen Corporation's previous design draft. Shameless. Shen Yunshu gritted her teeth. This double helix sky corridor is our original patented design. Even this photosynthesis-powered glass curtain wall is our exclusive idea. Original? The Chuan let out a cold laugh in the audience, pulled out his phone, and initiated a system command to hack the venue. The projector system connected successfully. Since you want to play the plagiarism game, I'll make it crystal clear for you. This is the result of 6 months of our team's blood, sweat, and tears. Absolutely one of a kind. Right at that moment, the big screen suddenly flickered, transforming into a split-screen comparison. On the left was the ongoing Urban Oasis presentation. On the right was shockingly Shen Corporation's internal meeting video from 3 months ago. The whole venue fell deathly silent. And then another uproar. Damn! Isn't that Shen Corporation's old plan? They even copied the color scheme. They must have just stolen it directly. A big company like Tianchen Capital is really playing this game? Zhou Peng on stage looked like a duck being strangled, his words cut off instantly. He stared at the big screen in panic. Cold sweat soaked his back immediately. What the hell is going on? Who switched the screen? Turn it off, hurry. What are you doing? You believe I'll kill you? I didn't touch anything. The computer is out of control. Looks like it's been hacked. Before they could frantically pull the plug, a line of blood-red letters appeared on the big screen. The epitaph of a thief. Originality is dead. Not because you can only pick up trash. Then the screen went black, and everything returned to normal. The Chuan sat in the audience, quietly putting away his phone, hiding his achievement, and unwrapped a mint candy Shen Yunshu brought him. Was that a broadcast accident or what? Shen Yunshu stared in shock at what just happened. All her pent-up frustration completely gone. Wow, the Chuan just chewed up the soup cube. That's what you call warming up the room. Look at Professor Liu over there. His face has gone green. Sure enough, Professor Liu looked like he was sitting on pins and needles on the judges' panel. He originally took money to give Tiansheng a high score. Now, with solid evidence of plagiarism in front of hundreds of people, if he insists on defending them, his reputation will be destroyed by tomorrow. Professor Liu forced himself to pick up the microphone. There are serious disputes about Tiansheng Capital's proposal. Let's postpone the decision next. Shen Corporation. Wu Zixuan slunk off the stage in embarrassment. Kid, this was your doing, huh? Just you wait. Once you leave this door, I'll make sure you die in the street. Is this how you ask someone for help? Better bring extra tissues later, so you don't cry too hard. Shen Yunshu took a deep breath, stood up right then, and instantly became the focus of the entire room. Some were curious, some sympathetic, others skeptical. After all, that plagiarism fiasco made everyone curious about Su Shi's new proposal. Shen Yunshu walked up on stage, without a USB drive, or any printed materials. She just stood calmly at the center podium, the lights shining on her, like a queen about to be crowned. Ladies and gentlemen, Shen Yunshu's voice was clear and resolute. What you just saw was so-called urban oasis. It's true, that was a scrap proposal from Shen Corporation. Why did we scrap it? Because it was too outdated. The crowd buzzed with surprise. Even though that proposal involved plagiarism, in the industry it was still top-notch. So as not to waste anyone's time. Assistant, let's begin. The Chuan nodded and opened the silver metal case. But instead of pulling out documents, he took out a fist-sized black crystal. This was redeemed from the system store. A portable holographic projector. The 2035 model sells for 5 million. The Chuan placed the crystal in the middle of the stage. What is that thing? Judges craned their necks to see. In the next moment, a beam of blue light shot up and instantly spread out, covering the entire convention center. The once bright hall instantly went dark, and in its place appeared a huge, truly realistic virtual city floating in midair. No more rigid PPTs, no more flat renderings. Everyone felt as if they'd traveled through time and space, entering a cyberpunk style, future metropolis. Giant neon signs flashed overhead. You could even see the expressions of virtual pedestrians walking on the streets. And at the very center of it all was a building shaped like a blossoming mechanical lotus, slowly rotating. That's Shen Corporation's new proposal, Rebirth Lotus. No naked eye 3D. This is full palace projection. What am I seeing? Is this a Hollywood blockbuster in real life? This design is absolutely mind-blowing. Compared to this, that so-called urban oasis earlier was nothing more than a rural outhouse. The whole venue is erupting. Reporters are frantically snapping photos. The flashes are lighting up the scene like daylight. Shen Yunshu stands within that massive virtual lotus, like a fairy in the center of the flower. He reaches out his hand and gently swipes the virtual interface. The entire building instantly dissolves and restructures, revealing the interior, with its breathtaking commercial ecosystem flow. We don't define the future. We create the future. There's no suspense at all. This is a slaughter. A dimensional strike from a higher plane. Professor Liu, who wanted to nitpick just now, is now slack-jawed, his dentures almost falling out. Faced with such god-tier skills, if he dared say a single word against it, he'd probably be torn apart by the fanatic audience. I give full marks. This is a piece of art, a landmark masterpiece. Another judge stands up, excitedly applauding. Thunderous applause erupts. It doesn't fade for a long time. Wu Zixuan sits below, his face ashen. He collapses into his chair. He knows it's over. No matter how much money he has, or how strong his connections are, in the face of absolute strength, it's all a joke. Shen Yunshu looks at the fervent crowd below. His eyes turn red. He looks at the Chuan, playing with the $5 million crystal. He winks at him, and mouths a phrase. Boss lady rules. The bidding is over. Shen Group, with overwhelming momentum, has secured the City of the Future project. As soon as the news breaks, Shen Group's stock, which had been at the limit down, instantly surges in a straight upward spike, locked at the daily limit. President Shen, is that holographic technology, developed in-house by your company? Who's the chief designer for that design proposal? President Shen. Could you introduce us? Shen Yunshu struggles to squeeze through the crowd, looking around.
He's searching for the Chuanren.
But the greatest contributor is nowhere to be seen right now. In the back alley of the exhibition center, the Chuan is leaning against the wall, smoking. In front of him, two men are kneeling. One is Zhou Peng, battered and bruised. The other is Wu Zixuan, shivering. Surrounding them are more than 10 burly men in black suits, all wearing sunglasses. Leading them is Dao Jie, the lone shark who just pledged loyalty last night. Now he's become head of the Son's security team. Young master, I was wrong. I didn't know who I was dealing with. Wu Zixuan is nothing but humble now. He stares at the steel pipe in Dao Jie's hand, as thick as a wrist. So scared he waits his pants. Please spare me. I'm the only heir of the Wu family. Whatever you want, I'll pay you. The Chuan exhales a smoke ring and squats down. Money? Do you think I'm short on money? The Chuan chuckles. He pulls out a check, writes out a string of numbers, and tosses it onto Wu Zixuan's face. That's 10 million. Consider it compensation for your comment about the delivery guy, mental damages. And of course, you're the one paying me. Not the other way around. Wu Zixuan is stunned. I pay... Right, yes. I'm not short on money, but I hate people owing me. Dao Jie show young Master Wu how to write an IOU. Interest? Let's use the same rate as he lost money in Macau. No problem, young Master Li. Don't worry, I'm great at this. Dao Jie grins menacingly, closing in on the Chuan. The Chuan stands up, ignoring the screams behind him. He just steps out of the alley, when his phone rings. The Chuan, where are you? The celebration banquet is about to begin. You're the star. If you don't show up, the banquet won't start. Let's skip the celebration banquet. I don't like those kinds of gatherings. The Chuan looks at the distant CBD building, where Shen Group's giant billboard is rolling. President Shen, don't forget our agreement. Save the co-pilot's seat for me. Shen Yunshu is silent for 2 seconds on the other end. The Chuan, I don't want a co-pilot. I want you to be the driver, and drive the car for life. Are you willing? It's almost a confession. The Chuan is dazed for a moment. The system in his head suddenly blares a piercing red alert. Warning! Alert! Detected. Host is overusing future technology, attracting the attention of the Shadow World Organization. S-Class crisis incoming. Top global assassin group Black Mamba has accepted the job. Target: the Chuan. Bounty: $100 million. Employer, father of Wu Zixuan Wu family. Countdown. First wave of assassination hits in 30 minutes. First wave is about to arrive. The old dog of the Wu family struck. If the young one arrived, now the old one comes. He says to Shen Yanshu on the other end of the call. Yanshu, cancel the celebration banquet. Go home immediately and lock all doors and windows. Move all of Daje's men to surround your villa. No matter what you hear, don't come out. What happened? The Chuan, don't scare me. It's nothing. The Chuan looks up toward the distance, at that black helicopter circling overhead. Just need to clean up some dirty business. This time, I want the entire underground world in Jiangcheng to know who the real king is. In that old industrial zone waiting for demolition, the air feels as heavy as lead. That black helicopter isn't firing directly, but circling like a vulture. After circling twice, it hovers on top of an abandoned building a kilometer away. The Chuan stands at a deserted crossroads. The cigarette between his fingers has burned to the end. Come out. The Chuan flicks the cigarette away. As an international top assassin organization, do you have to keep hiding like rats in the gutter? The silence is deathly still all around. Suddenly, the faintest slicing sound, like death sighing. If it were a normal person, they'd already have had their skull cracked open by that custom armor-piercing round. But the Chuan isn't just anyone. Through his golden eye vision, the bullet flying at 3 times the speed of sound is dragging a long thermal tail and moving as slow as a snail. The Chuan doesn't even move his feet. He just tilts his head slightly, barely perceptible. The bullet brushes past his hair and nails hard into the concrete pillar behind him, leaving a crater as big as a bowl. Is that all you've got? The Chuan looks up. Locked on with precision. That sniper hiding behind the billboard. Black Mamba. Isn't all that impressive? On the top floor of an abandoned building, 500 meters away, the sniper, codenamed Viper, peers through a night vision scope, watching the man still standing in place. Who even has the nerve to flip him off? Cold sweat instantly soaks through his combat suit. Reporting, Captain. Target 1 evaded. Repeat, he evaded. That's an M200 sniper rifle. 500 meters away. How is this possible? Shut up, Team B. Team C, make your move. Close range kill. Don't give him a chance to breathe. Copy. With the order given, from the darkness surrounding the old industrial zone, 12 shadowy figures rushed out instantly. They're fully suited in exoskeleton tactical armor, armed with silenced tactical SMGs and high-frequency vibration knives. Their movements are perfectly coordinated, like a pack of silent wolves, closing in on the Chuan from all directions. The Chuan stands at the center of the encirclement, with not a trace of fear on his face. Instead, he reveals a bloodthirsty excitement. System. I want to make a purchase. Host detected in an S-level combat zone. Mall smart recommendations activated. Absolute defense shield, one-time price, 50 million. Can block everything except nukes. Lasts for 10 minutes. Terminator T800 trial card, 1 hour price, 100 million. Level 8 motivation full master permanent price, 200 million. Telekinesis basics price, 500 million. I choose Bajiquan, 200 million deducted. Transferring Bajiquan master module. Memory infusion complete. A terrifying surge of heat sweeps through the Chuan's body. His bones crack like popping beans. His once slender muscles suddenly tense up. Every inch of muscle fiber seems compressed with enough power to shatter mountains. At this moment, the 2 assassins at the front have already arrived. 2 high-frequency vibration knives gleaming coldly. One left, one right, stabbing straight at the Chuan's throat and heart. Then a cold, indifferent voice rings beside them. Too slow. Bajiquan Iron Mountain. The Chuan didn't even throw a punch. just slightly lowered his shoulder, then suddenly slammed into the assassin on his left. A dull, tooth-grinding thud echoes. That killer, wearing Kevlar body armor, even upgraded with exoskeleton plating, is hit head-on like by a speeding bullet train. Impact directly to the head. His whole body flies out like a missile, crashing straight through a red brick wall on the roadside. The remaining 10 assassins screech to a halt, their eyes full of terror. "Open fire! Open fire! Don't let him get close!" Captain Viper roars frantically in his headset. Rat-a-tat-tat. Countless tongues of fire spit out instantly. Bullets pour down on the Chuan like a violent storm. But the Chuan moved. With level 8 blessed footwork, he moves like a lightning-fast specter, dodging expertly through the hail of bullets. His golden eyes reach their peak. Each bullet's trajectory appears as a clear line in his eyes. Bullets he can't dodge. He even reaches out directly. The Chuan's fingers move as fast as lightning, actually catching a bullet mid-air. Monster. He's a monster. Now it's my turn. The Chuan tosses away the bullet and leaps forward. The next 3 minutes are a one-sided slaughter. The Chuan's figure is like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. Everywhere he goes, someone falls. He pushes Bajiquan's ferocity to its limits. Mantra of Calm King Yama, 3-finger strike, sky-piercing cannon. Every move is simple and direct, yet brimming with destructive force. Exoskeleton armor before him is as fragile as paper. An assassin tries to use a rocket launcher, but before he can fire, the Chuan kicks and breaks his arm. Rocket launcher falls to the ground. Boom! Blasting the assassin sky high. When the last assassin is kicked away by the Chuan, the whole block returns to silence. Standing in the center of the carnage, the Chuan's Armani suit isn't even stained with a drop of blood. Only in his deep, intense eyes, golden flames still burn. He looks up. At the top of the abandoned building, there's one big fish left up there. Top floor of the building. Viper's hands are trembling. He's been a mercenary for 20 years. Killed warlords in the Philippines. Blown up oil fields in the Middle East. Seen all kinds of tough guys. But someone like the Chuan, who annihilated a fully armed elite team, barehanded in 3 minutes, he's never even heard of. Retreat! Retreat now! Bad intel. This isn't an S-level mission at all. This is an SSS-level suicide mission. Viper screams into his headset, getting ready to escape via zipline. Just as he turns around, "Since you're here, why not stay for some tea?" He swiftly draws the Desert Eagle from his thigh, whips around and fires. Gunshot echoes, but the Chuan vanishes. Next second, Viper feels something cold on his wrist. Intense pain hits. His right hand and the Desert Eagle drop neatly to the ground. The cut is smooth as glass. And in front of him, the Chuan is playing with a thin, blood-stained, rusty scrap of metal, picked up casually from the ground. A piece of a soda can. Even leaves and flowers can be used to kill. Viper clutches his severed wrist, drops to his knees, screaming in agony, eyes filled with despair and terror. "Don't kill me. I'm Black Mamba's Asia Regional Director. If you kill me, Black Mamba will hunt you to the ends of the earth." The Chuan looks down on him, like watching an ant try to threaten me. "Do you know what I hate most? It's when someone tries to threaten me with things I can't even count. Like money." The Chuan pulls out his phone, opens an interface. The newly unlocked dark web system. Sky Eye Pro privilege. Black Mamba, secret organization. Headquarters located on a small island in the Pacific's international waters. Assets about 30 billion United States dollars. Current leader codenamed Poison King. True identity, illegitimate son of a fallen European noble. How do you know all this? This is top secret. System exchange. Godhand Global top hacker, upgraded version. Hacked Black Mamba HQ accounts. All funds frozen. Additionally, posted a new bounty for all assassins. 3 seconds later, Viper's custom communicator suddenly starts vibrating madly. Not just him. At this moment, distributed all over the world, more than 3,000 Black Mamba assassins. Top bounty target, the entire Wu family. Primary targets, Wu Zixuan and his father Wu Diamao. Employer codename, God. Bounty, $1 billion USD. Additional clause, whoever brings back Wu Diamao's head will be the next leader of Black Mamba. Current leader, Venom King, has been acquired by Tycoon God for $50 billion USD. The organization is now renamed to Divine Retribution. I've had enough, Viper muttered to himself. It feels like my whole worldview just shattered. He never dreamed someone could just outright buy an assassin organization. What? You don't believe it? If you don't, take a look at your bank account. As a welcome gift, I just gave every living hitman a $1 million hush bonus. Viper's phone rang. Payment received, $1 million. In that moment, Viper looked at the Chuan with new eyes. No longer fear, but wild fanaticism. The former boss suddenly kowtowed, banging his forehead on the floor. This subordinate was blind and clueless. I am willing to risk anything for the boss. That old bastard Wu Diaomao. I'll go kill him right now. Your arm is broken. You're useless now. I don't keep useless people. Viper's face turned ashen, but with a twist in the Chuan's tone. I have a pill here. Take it and your arm will grow back. And your strength will triple. The system shop's list price is $50 million. But this pill is poisonous. You need an antidote every 3 months. If you betray me, I'll eat. Viper instantly grabbed the pill and swallowed it. A miraculous thing happened. Flesh at the stump of Viper's wrist began to squirm. Amazingly, the bleeding stopped and scabbed over visibly. Regenerating. A miracle. It's a miracle! Viper burst into tears. The Chuan turned around and walked toward the edge of the building. Clean up the bodies here. I don't want to see any news about a shootout tomorrow. Also, inform everyone about the Wu family. I want to play with them slowly. Don't kill them off all at once. First, cut off their cash flow. Then, sever their connections. Finally, I want them on their knees at the Shen Group doorstep, begging for death. If you can't obey, after tonight, the Wu family will be completely wiped out from the underworld. The Chuan leapt off, jumping straight from the 30th floor. In mid-air, he activated a newly bought anti-gravity glider, soaring through the night like a giant black bat.
He disappeared into the darkness.
Half an hour later, Shen Yunshu's private villa was all lit up. In the living room, Shen Yunshu curled up on the sofa, hugging a pillow. The TV was on, but she wasn't watching at all. Tang Tang was already asleep beside her, with teardrops still in the corners of her eyes. The Chuan. Please, don't let anything happen to you. Shen Yunshu clasped her hands together, silently praying. Right then, the sound of the fingerprint lock unlocking came from the door. Welcome home. Shen Yunshu jumped up, not even bothering to put on her shoes, and ran to the door barefoot. The door opened sorry. I'm late. I passed by the night market. Saw some great-looking crawfish. So I grabbed some. It's 13 spice flavor. The Chuan. Shen Yunshu could no longer hold back her emotions. She pounced straight into the Chuan's arms, holding her waist tightly. Her tears instantly soaked the Chuan's shirt. Where did you go? Do you know how worried I was? I heard a helicopter, and I thought, silly, didn't I tell you? There was some dirty business to clean up. He lifted his head, looking out at the night sky through the window. The clouds had already cleared away, revealing a bright full moon. From now on, the nights in Jiang City. I call the shots. No one will ever hurt you again. The Chuan. Who are you really? The Chuan leaned down to kiss the tears by her eyes. I'm your Tycoon. And your knight. Meanwhile, at the Wu family mansion on the other side of Jiang City, Wu Diaomo, chairman of Wu Group, was sitting in his study, anxiously awaiting good news. Why hasn't there been an update? What's that useless viper up to? Jiu Diamo angrily stubbed his cigar out in the ashtray. Suddenly, the study door was smashed open, and the butler stumbled in, face full of terror. Master. Bad news, something huge happened. Stop panicking, the sky isn't falling, is it? Jiu Diamo shouted angrily. The butler nervously handed over a tablet. The sky really did fall. Look at this. There are bounties on our whole family all over the dark web. Just now, our stock price crashed 90% in pre-market trading. A dozen major company shareholders just called saying they're pulling out. Wu Diaomao snatched the tablet and took just one glance. Immediately, the world started spinning.
He coughed up a mouthful of blood.
On the dark web's homepage, his big mugshot was posted. Below it, in blood-red letters, wanted by the whole net. Annihilate the Wu clan. Bounty, $1 billion USD. Who did this? Wu Diaomao roared, like a dying beast. The study phone rang at that moment. It was a strange number. Wu Diaomao picked up, trembling. A voice came through, altered electronically, yet still icy to the bone. Chairman Wu, good evening. I heard you hired Black Mamba to kill me. Too bad, Black Mamba goes by the name The Now. Enjoy your last night. When the sun rises tomorrow, it'll be the end for your Wu family. The call ended. The phone slipped from Wu Diaomao's hand, his whole body slumping into the chair. Eyes blank. Outside, what was once Wu clan's glorious city lights, at this moment, seemed like guiding lamps to hell. Mornings in Jiang City are usually busy and orderly. But today, the whole city was filled with an air of suffocating madness. All because of the mysterious Divine Retribution Organization and their bounty posted on the dark web last night. 1 billion United States dollars. Enough money to buy half the countries in Africa. It set the entire criminal underworld ablaze. Wu Group headquarters. This building once symbolized the pinnacle of power in Jiang City. Now it's been surrounded so tightly that you can't get in or out, but it's not reporters. Instead, it was groups of people with fierce looks in their eyes. With bulging waists, unknown individuals. Chairman's office on the top floor. Wu Daomiao's mink hat seemed to have aged 10 years overnight. He slumped in that $1 million Wang Wali wooden chair.
His hair was messy.
His eyes were bloodshot. He was clutching a satellite phone tightly. Hello, Chairman. It's me, old Wu. I don't ask for much. Just ask you to send someone to protect me. What do you mean, bad signal? Hello? Hello? Wu Diaomao angrily smashed the satellite phone against the floor-to-ceiling window.
Dang!
A white mark appeared on the bulletproof glass, reflecting the densely packed, ant-like crowds below. At that moment, the heavy mahogany office door was kicked open from outside. The person who walked in wasn't an assassin. It was his secretary. But at this moment, the secretary who always obeyed him was coldly holding a cardboard box. Chairman Wu. Here is your resignation letter. The secretary threw a piece of paper onto Wu Daomao's face. I've printed it for you. Besides, everyone in the company finance department has already resigned. You dare to rebel? I'm the chairman. I'm not dead yet. Chairman Wu, don't be naive. The Wu Group stock is now worthless. The bank has frozen all assets. Even the utilities for this building are 3 months overdue. You are now in negative equity. Who recognizes you as chairman now? Without another word, the secretary walked out. Before leaving, she grabbed the pure gold pen holder from the desk. Bitch, Come back and put my gold pen down. Wu Daomao roared, trying to chase after her, but was blocked by two burly men at the door. Those were the bodyguards he'd hired for a high price. One of them was chewing gum. Chairman Wu, save your strength. The two of us haven't left, because someone offered a higher price. We're here to keep an eye on you. Don't let you commit suicide. Who is it? The bodyguards didn't reply. They just respectfully stepped aside to open a path. At the end of the hallway came steady footsteps, unhurried. Leather shoes tapping crisply on the marble floor, with every step echoing sharply. Each one felt like it was stomping on the hearts of the Wu father and son. A young man in a deep blue tailored suit was escorting a stunningly elegant cold beauty. They walked in gracefully like strolling through a courtyard. Behind him followed a large group of smartly dressed elite men. Each carried a briefcase. It looked like a professional acquisition team. Morning, Chairman Wu. The Chuan walked into the office, gazed around the extremely luxurious space, and finally, his eyes landed on Wu Daomao's pale face. So this is the office of Jiang Cheng's wealthiest man. The taste is a bit tacky. The Chuan casually picked up a golden cicada from the desk, disgustedly weighed it in his hand, and then tossed it into the trash. Wu Daomao stared fiercely at the man before him. Hatred was almost overflowing from his eyes. The Chuan, it's you. You're the one who issued the bounty. You devil. What are you trying to do? Killing only counts if you bow your head to the ground. Doing this is illegal. The Chuan pulled up a chair. Let Shen Yanshu sit down. He lazily leaned on the edge of the desk. Last night when you sent killers to murder me, did you ever think about the consequences? Only government officials are allowed to set fires. But ordinary people aren't allowed to light lamps. The Chuan snapped his fingers. A layer behind him stepped forward, opened the briefcase, and took out a thick stack of documents. Spread them in front of Wu Daomao. Chairman Wu, let me introduce myself. I'm Mr. the Chuan's chief legal representative. This is the full asset transfer agreement for Wu Group. According to our calculations, Wu Group is currently in debt for 23 billion. Asset valuation is affected by force majeure. The current valuation is barely 5 billion. Originally, this was a company heading for bankruptcy liquidation. But my boss, Mr. the Chuan, is kind-hearted. He is willing to acquire it. Acquisition, how much are you willing to pay? As long as you're willing to revoke the bounty, I'll give you the company. Everything, it's all yours. The Chuan smiled. He held up one finger. 1 billion. The Chuan shook his head. 100 million. Wu Daomao gritted his teeth. The Chuan still shook his head.
10 million.
Wu Daomao's heart sank to the bottom. The Chuan put away his smile.
He took out a coin from his pocket.
It was a rusted 1-cent coin no longer in circulation. That old rusty penny. Clang, the coin spun on the tabletop, making a harsh scraping sound. Finally, it toppled in front of Wu Daomao. To buy all the assets accumulated by your Wu family over 3 generations, including this building, every property, car, and stock under your name. Even this suit you are wearing. Wu Daomao coughed up a mouthful of blood in rage. This is outrageous. Slammed the desk. Even if I burn all these things, give them to beggars, I would never give them to you. The Chuan's eyes turned cold. You can try. But let me remind you, those 3,000 bounty hunters downstairs are getting impatient. If I revoke the order to capture you alive, guess how they'd rush in? Wu Daomao instantly froze. Dad. The money. I want to live. I don't want to die. Wu Zixuan broke down. He crawled over and hugged Wu Daomao's leg, crying with snot and tears everywhere. Seeing his son so pathetic, the light in Wu Daomao's eyes completely extinguished. Wu Daomao trembled as he picked up the pen. The Chuan. You're ruthless. At the moment of signing, He felt his soul was drained. The empire he fought for all his life, now sold for 1 cent. To the man he once considered insignificant. A food delivery man. Don't tell me. Do you like your gift? The Chuan picked up the signed agreement and handed it straight to Shen Yunshu behind him. Shen Yunshu held the weighty documents in her hands. This was the monster that almost destroyed the Shen family.
Now,
It so casually became hers. The Chuan. This is too precious. Shen Yunshu felt like it wasn't real. Hey, we're family. There's no need to be so formal. From now on, you are the Wu Group. Oh no, now it's the Shen Group. Chairman of the Shen House First Branch Company. He patted Wu Diamao on the shoulder, as if comforting a beaten dog. All right. Don't look so down. To celebrate the successful acquisition, I've decided to take you and your son to experience life again. Experience what? Wu Diamao had a bad premonition. Shopping. The Chuan snapped his fingers. System is now activating Shenhao's humiliating shopping mode. Detected. Host is initiating a high-throw plot mission, now publishing.
take the former richest man shopping.
Mission requirement. In front of the Wu father and son. Buy everything they ever wanted but never dared to buy. And force them to act as porters. 1 hour later, Jiangcheng's largest luxury car dealership. Top luxury cars from around the world are displayed here. This used to be Wu Zixuan's favorite place to show off. But every time he came, he only dared to look at those entry-level cars worth a few million. As for the center of the showroom, that Bugatti worth 120 million. Above the night, he didn't even dare to touch it. But today he's here only as a porter. Wu Zixuan was wearing a torn shirt, drenched in sweat, following behind the Chuan, while Wu Diamao looked like an old servant, head lowered, mumbling obediently, "Young Master Wu." Does that car look familiar? The Chuan pointed at the Bugatti. Gave Wu Zixuan a sly smile. Heard you begged your dad for half a year for that car last time. But he never bought it for you. Wu Zixuan swallowed hard, eyes full of longing and jealousy. Yeah. Do you like it? I do. Then take another good look. The Chuan walked over to the car, patted the hood. Because from now on, you'll only drive it in your dreams. After saying that, the Chuan turned to the sales manager. Swipe the card for the full amount. No need for a test drive. Just give me the car keys. Yes, Mr. Lin. The manager was so excited his hands were shaking. The Chuan took the keys. Then, under Wu Zixuan's look of utter despair, casually tossed the keys to Dao Jie behind him. Daozi, this car is yours. From now on, drive this when you go shopping for groceries. Don't use that crappy old Jinggu anymore. What a disgrace. The whole room froze. A Bugatti worth 120 million just given to a bodyguard for grocery shopping. Dao Jie held the keys, tears streaming down his face. He immediately knelt before the Chuan on the spot. Boss, you're like a second father to me. My life belongs to you from now on. Wu Zixuan felt worse than eating crap. The legend of a dream car he's always wanted, just casually given by the Chuan to a thug. Don't worry, this isn't over yet. The Chuan kept walking forward. I'll take that Rolls Royce. And that Ferrari LaFerrari. Color's too flashy. Paint it black when we get back. And those Aston Martins. Assign one to each cleaning lady at my company. Easier for their commute. In just half an hour, the Chuan swept through the entire dealership. Total bill, 800 million. Wu Diamao and Wu Zixuan followed behind. Arms full of all kinds of luxury car gifts. Car covers, air fresheners. Exhausted like two dead dogs. Every time the Chuan swiped his card, their hearts would twitch in pain. The Chuan, please, stop buying. We give up. Just put us out of our misery. Wu Diamao finally broke down. He knelt on the floor and wailed loudly. The Chuan paused, turned around and looked at the father and son. Mercy, back when you kicked me out of the family, when I was delivering food in the pouring rain. Did you ever show me mercy? The Chuan's gaze instantly turned icy cold. I told you, I'd make you wish you were dead. Daojie, take these two losers to the police station. Tell the chief. Arrange a luxury private cell for them, and find a few enthusiastic inmates to take good care of them. I've heard young Master Wu is soft-skinned and delicate. He'll probably be popular. Understood, young Master Lin, don't worry. I know all the rules inside. Daojie nodded with a grin, dragging the Wu father and son out like dead dogs. No, the Chuan, you can't do this. I'm your brother. Brother, I was wrong. Wu Zixuan's desperate screams echoed through the showroom and gradually faded away. After dealing with the Wu family, the Chuan let out a long breath. Why the long face? Shen Yanshu walked over to him, gently taking his arm. Nothing, just a bit bored. The Chuan gazed at the bustling street outside the showroom. The Wu family fell too easily. No challenge at all. Shen Yanshu smiled. If anyone else heard you say that, they'd probably want to kill you. That was the Wu family, kings of Jiangcheng. Now the king is gone. The Chuan held her hand. Come on, I'll take you somewhere. Where? To see your new office. The top floor of Wu Group's tower has a great view. Perfect for romance. Just as they were about to leave, the Chuan's phone suddenly rang. It was an encrypted number, no caller ID. The Chuan frowned slightly. He answered the call. On the other end of the line came an elderly yet powerful-sounding voice, with the authority of a longtime leader. Young man, I must say, you've caused quite a stir in Jiangcheng lately. The Chuan's eyes narrowed. Who are you? Doesn't matter who I am, the old man said calmly. What matters is your building. Even though Wu Diaomo was a worthless fool, he was still a dog I raised. You should always check who owns the dog before you beat it. So beat up the lackey, and now the boss shows up. What, are you here to issue a bounty? The Chuan showed no fear. In fact, he looked excited. Finally, a worthy opponent. I don't play child's games like bounties. There was a trace of sarcasm in the old man's voice. Young man, you've got some money and some skills, but real power reduces money to numbers and strength to brute force. I am the steward of the Lu family in Beijing. Our young master is very interested in your Shenhao system, or rather, in your ability to conjure up funds out of nowhere. Very interested. The Chuan's pupils shrank violently. He knows about the system. Here's some advice. The old man continued. In 3 days, the Lu family will come to Jiangcheng to take over what's left of Wu Group. I hope you make the smart choice by then and hand over what you have. Otherwise, you'll discover what true despair feels like. The call ended. The Chuan stood there holding his phone, silent for a long time. The Lu family of Beijing. They are the real top clan of the nation. Legend has it, they control the country's economic lifeblood. Compared to the Lu family, the Wu family really is less than a dog. And it looks like they've sensed the existence of the system. What is it, the Chuan? Who was on the phone? Shen Yanshu noticed the Chuan's discomfort and asked worriedly. The Chuan snapped out of it, the seriousness in his eyes quickly fading, replaced by nothing but a self-righteous old man. The Chuan put his phone back in his pocket. He looked north. That's the direction of the capital. Yangshu, it looks like our downtime is over. The upcoming game might get a little intense. The Chuan silently recited, System. Detected. Host encountering a world-class crisis. Precursor System Upgrade Mission. Triggered. God-tier Tycoon Mission. Goal. Before the arrival of the Lu family. Raise your power, wealth, and military strength. And connections to an overlord level. Current reward, Foresight. 1 set of beginner blueprints for a tech arms factory. This is a recruitment order. You can recruit 100 absolutely loyal gene warriors. Unlimited funds mode. Time limit, 24 hours. All expenses, regardless of amount, won't just not deduct money, but will be doubled as a rebate. Hearing the third reward, the Chuan laughed. He laughed without restraint. He laughed wildly. Unlimited flow. Double rebate. The Lu family, huh? Trying to play economic blockade? Then I'll use money to smash a hole in your Lu family's Beijing stronghold. The Chuan took Shen Yushu's hand and strode toward the Bugatti he just bought. Spending money. Tonight I'm going to double Jiangcheng's GDP. Caesar's Palace Cruise. Tonight's Century Charity Gala is held here. Although it's called a charity event, in reality, it's a show for Western capital and domestic comprador forces. A muscle-flexing contest. It's hosted by the Rothschild family. And right there it says Lu family of Beijing as co-host. This time, it's on a whole new level. No more local tycoons from Jiangcheng coming and going, but Wall Street predators and European nobility, along with the country's elite heirs. When the Chuan's Black Honky 19 stopped at the end of the red carpet, countless camera flashes erupted. The Chuan escorted a glamorous Shen Yunshu out of the car. Tonight, Shen Yunshu was wearing a starry flowing dress designed by the Chuan himself, redeemed from the system. The futuristic fabric of the skirt floated as she walked, like a galaxy flowing. In an instant, she outshined all the Hollywood stars and socialites present. That's the Chuan right there. I heard he made a 6th-generation engine. For real? He's offended both the Rothschilds and the Lu family. Tonight is probably his doom's banquet. The whispers all around didn't stop. The Chuan ignored them. He walked straight into the banquet hall with Shen Yunshu. The banquet hall was extravagant, but right in the center of the hall stood a massive display platform. It was covered by a red cloth and surrounded by armed foreign bodyguards. That's tonight's grand finale auction item. A cold voice came from the side. A middle-aged man dressed in tong suit, clutching 2 iron balls in his hand, walked over. Behind him followed an obviously resentful Lu Jiahao, and Henry that had just put in a cheongsum. This middle-aged man was the Lu family's number 2, Lu Jiahao's uncle, known as Smiling Tiger Lu Chenyuan. I've heard a lot about you, Mr. Lin. Lu Chenyuan gave a fake, polite, cupped fist salute. I'm Lu Chenyuan. I heard my useless nephew has received a lot of your attention in Jiangcheng. I wouldn't call it attention, the Chuan said indifferently. I just fixed his car and taught him how to be a better person. Lu Jiahao was so angry he wanted to charge up. Stopped by Lu Chenyuan. It's good for young people to have a sharp tongue. But some things can't be guarded with words alone. Lu Chenyuan pointed at the display stage. Tonight's auction was specially prepared for you by Mr. Henry. Hope your wallet is as tough as your mouth. With that, the 3 of them laughed meaningfully. Then turned and went to the VIP seats. What are they up to? Shen Yunshu felt a bad premonition. No matter what they're up to, the Chuan's gaze turned cold. Tonight, none of them will leave with a single penny. The gala began. After all the long speeches, the main event, the auction, finally started. The early lots were jewelry and paintings, quite valuable, but the Chuan didn't bid on them. He was waiting for the so-called grand finale. Finally, Henry walked up to the auction stage. Henry wore a look of vengeance on his face. His eyes locked onto the Chuan in the crowd. Tonight's final lot is a national treasure of Xia that has been overseas for over a century. He suddenly whipped off the red cloth. The crowd gasped. Displayed was a bronze dragon head, still dirt-covered, yet radiating awe-inspiring authority. It was the most mysterious of the old summer palace's 12 zodiac heads, the dragon's head whose whereabouts remain unknown. This dragon head was a war trophy our family obtained during that war a century ago. Henry emphasized the words war trophy. For every Xie national present, this was utter humiliation. Starting bid, $1 billion US. Increments no less than 100 million each. Henry shot a provocative look at the Chuan. Mr. Lin, I heard you're a patriotic businessman. Now's the time to prove your patriotism. If you don't buy it, this dragon head will be sent to a museum tomorrow and forever labeled as a mark of the conquest of the East. The Xia businessman broke out in outrage. Shameless. This is robbery. Arrogant to the extreme. This is a slap in our face. $1 billion. That's way too much. Everyone's eyes turned to the Chuan. It was a no-win situation. If he bought it, he'd just be writing a fat check to the West. If not, he was letting a national treasure be humiliated. He'd be ruined either way. Lu Chengyuan sneered from the side. Why isn't the Chuan bidding? Where's your unlimited funds now? Where's your patriotism? Don't tell me you're just a coward. The Chuan slowly stood up. He straightened his suit button, looked calmly at Henry on the stage. $1 billion. The Chuan raised his bidding paddle. I bid $10 billion. The whole place froze. $10 billion. Even Henry was stunned. Initially, he just wanted to fleece the Chuan for a couple billion. He never expected him to bump it up 10 times. The Chuan, are you insane? Shen Yunshu grabbed his sleeve. It's a trap set by these crooks. If you give them the money, they'll be back on their feet. Don't worry. The Chuan patted his hand. Whether they get it isn't up to them. Henry finally snapped back and was ecstatic. With $10 billion, not only would the family crisis be resolved, they'd make a huge profit. 10 billion once. 10 billion twice. Sold. Henry hammered down eagerly. Mr. Lin, please transfer the money immediately. We only accept instant transfer via the SWIFT system. It was all set up already. As soon as the Chuan's money hit the SWIFT system, he'd use his connections to swallow up the cash first, then freeze the transaction as anti-money laundering. In the end, no money, no treasure. That's rogue behavior at its peak. The Chuan took out his black card and handed it to the staff walking over. The giant screen showed the transfer interface. Everyone held their breath, waiting for that astronomical sum to hit. Suddenly, the big screen flickered. Warning, transaction failed. Error code 404. Your bank has been acquired. What? Henry was dumbfounded. What do you mean the bank was acquired? This is Atlantic United Bank. It's our own family's bank. The Chuan stood below the stage, with his hands in his pockets, and wore a brilliant smile. I'm sorry, Mr. Henry. Just 1 minute before the auction started, these $10 billion on the U.S. secondary market completed a mandatory tender offer for Atlantic United Bank. The acquisition is complete. In other words, the Chuan pointed to the pause machine. I am now using my own money to move funds from my left hand to my right hand in my own bank. And you, as the former shareholder of this bank, are suspected of major financial fraud and embezzling depositor funds. The driver, Ni Chuan, snapped his fingers. The banquet hall doors were burst open. A group of people in Interpol uniforms rushed in. The leading officer held up a red notice. Henry Rothschild, you are under arrest for suspected stock market manipulation, money laundering, and commercial fraud. What? No. This is impossible. Henry looked at the approaching police, completely breaking down. I am a Rothschild. I have immunity. Mr. Liu. Save me, Mr. Liu. He looked toward Lu Chengyuan. However, Lu Chengyuan's face had already turned ashen, and he sat in his chair, not daring to move, because he felt several red laser dots, deadly locked onto his forehead. Those were snipers from the Shadow Legion.
Take him away.
The Chuan waved his hand. Henry was dragged away like a dead dog. The dragon head was left on the stage. The Chuan walked onto the stage, lifting that heavy bronze dragon head with one hand. Trophy. The Chuan looked at the audience, at those dumbfounded foreign capitalists, his voice booming like thunder. Starting today, the roles of offense and defense have shifted. Things that belong to us, I will take them back one by one, whether by buying or by seizing. Good. The audience erupted in a mountain shaking, and sea-roaring wave of applause and cheers. Countless Chinese businessmen were moved to tears. At this moment, a century of suppressed frustration was finally vented. Shen Yunshu looked at the radiant man on stage, her eyes full of obsession. This was her man, taking on the world alone, and still winning. However, just as the crowd was cheering, in the Chuan's mind, an unprecedented system prompt suddenly sounded. Detected achievement. Crushing old capital. System is undergoing the ultimate upgrade. Upgrade complete. Godhood Tycoon System version 3.0. Plane Overlord mode activated. New functions unlocked. The plane mall is no longer limited to Earth's technology. Level 1 Galactic civilization technology is now open. Antimatter energy, genetic, unlocking and spatial folding technology. Overlord domain. Within a 100-meter radius of the host, you have absolute authority to modify physical rules, such as doubling gravity or freezing time for 1 second. Final mission initiated. Global plutocrat purge. The Chuan looked at these new functions. The golden light in his eyes surged. Even the surrounding air produced visible ripples due to the energy overflow. Plane Overlord. Just then, Lu Chengyuan suddenly stood up. He looked at the Chuan, not only without fear, but with a strange smile on his face. The Chuan, brilliant. Truly brilliant. Lu Chengyuan clapped his hands, slowly walking toward the Chuan. It seems the legend is true. You really have that thing in you. Our Lu family originally wanted to spare your life, to use you as a money-making tool, but now it seems you have grown to an uncontrollable level. Lu Chengyuan pulled out a black remote from his coat. Do you know what this is? This Caesar's Palace cruise ship has been planted with 3 tons of liquid explosives. If I press this, no matter how much money you have, no matter what high-tech you possess, everything will turn to ashes in an instant. The Chuan, hand over your system, or let this entire ship of elites and your beloved woman be buried with you. The cheers of the crowd came to a screeching halt. Shen Yanshu's face turned pale. You madman, Lu Chengyuan. You're crazy. There are hundreds of innocent people on this ship. Innocent? Lu Chengyuan laughed wildly. Those who achieve great things don't sweat the small stuff. As long as I can get the Godhood Tycoon system, forget hundreds of people. It would be worth it even if half the people in Jiang City died. The Chuan, kneel down and extract the system, or I'll press it. Lu Chengyuan's finger rested on the red button. The Chuan looked at him, as if looking at a clown. Time stop. The Chuan softly uttered those 2 words. Overlord domain activated.
Time stasis for 1 second.
The whole world suddenly turned grayscale. The flying spittle, the terrified expressions, the rise and fall of the waves, even the motion of Lu Chengyuan's finger pressing down, were all frozen in this instant. The Chuan moved. As if strolling in a back garden, he leisurely walked up to Lu Chengyuan, reached out and took the remote from his hand, then backhanded a slap across Lu Chengyuan's face. Time resumed its flow. Lu Chengyuan felt a blur before his eyes. The remote in his hand was gone, followed by a sharp pain on half of his face. He spun around 3 times like a top, and several teeth flew out mixed with blood. Lu Chengyuan clutched his face, looking in horror at the Chuan, who was playing with the remote a few meters away. Are you a man or a ghost? How did you do it? What just happened? Teleportation. The Chuan crushed the remote. The fragments fell. I told you, in this domain I am God. The Chuan walked up to Lu Chengyuan, looking down from above at this once arrogant second-in-command of the Lu family. It's time for the Lu family's curtain call. This ship won't sink tonight, but the Lu family's sinking is certain. Tonight's banquet continues, but the next program is a trial. Colluding with foreign forces to murder a national hero, planting bombs in a public place. The evidence is conclusive. Dragon 1. Throw him overboard to feed the fishes. No. The Chuan, how dare you? I am from the Lu family. My eldest brother is. A huge splash ended all of Lu Chengyuan's shouting. The river water was cold and bottomless, just like the Chuan's gaze at this moment. He looked toward the north. The Lu family's last card is gone. Next, it's time to head to the capital to settle the biggest debt. Shen Yanshu walked to his side and held his hand tightly. Though her palm was still trembling, her gaze was incredibly firm. I'm going with you. The Chuan gripped her hand back, looking at the dragon head representing sovereign power in his hand. Good. What we're going to take back isn't just justice, but a new era that belongs to us. Late autumn in the capital. The Liu family's old mansion at the foot of the Western Hills. This structure has witnessed the rise and fall of 3 dynasties, and survived countless struggles for power, a colossal entity that never fell. Yet today it is shrouded by an unprecedented fear. Dark clouds gather in the sky, so low they're almost within reach. Inside the Liu family's main hall, the Hall of Loyalty and Righteousness, the atmosphere is oppressively tense. The current head of the Liu family, who used to be so powerful that a mere stomp would shake the entire capital. Old Master Lu Guan now sits upright in the Grand Master's chair. But the 2 lion's head walnuts he had fondled for half his life have now been crushed to powder in his hands. Below him, Lu Jiahao, who had just escaped back home, is kneeling, while on either side of the hall sit 7 or 8 men with restrained auras, elders with prominent temples. These men embody the Liu family's deep-rooted strength. Among the Liu clan's 8 steps, each one is a grandmaster of the martial world. Grandpa, second uncle. He was thrown into the river to feed the fish. Lu Jiahao was still shivering uncontrollably. Lu Guan raised his cane with a backhanded swing. You worthless fool. Praising the enemy and undermining your own side. Lu Guan rose to his feet, though already in his 80s. The murderous aura from a lifetime of battles still sent chills down everyone's spines. Demonic powers. What demonic powers exist in this world? It's nothing but some unknown cutting-edge technology. He scanned the room, his gaze as sharp as a hawk. The Liu family has stood in the capital for 100 years. What hardships haven't we seen? Not even the 8-nation alliance could wipe out the Liu family back then. And he's just an upstart. What right does he have to challenge my authority? Lu Guan suddenly slammed his cane down. The floor tiles instantly shattered. Activate the Skynet defense system. That's the laser defense array we spent 20 billion on, bought from the Western Blackwater Corporation. It can even intercept cruise missiles. Liu Clan 8 Masters, listen up. Guard the inner courtyard. If anyone surnamed the dares set foot inside, kill them on sight. A streak of madness flashed in Lu Guan's eyes. Release that thing from the Forbiddance area behind the mountain. Since he wants to play with inhuman methods, I'll show him what a real monster is. At the mention of that thing, all 8 Grandmasters present turned pale, their eyes filled with deep dread, even fear. Just then, a deep rumbling thunder echoed from the sky above. But the thunder didn't sound natural. It sounded more like some giant engine, compressing the atmosphere at low altitude, causing a sonic boom. Everyone in the Liu mansion instinctively rushed out of the hall, looking up at the sky. The next second, their pupils suddenly shrank. They saw the heavy black clouds overhead, seemingly torn open by an invisible giant hand. A massive rift forcefully carved open. A gigantic jet-black aircraft, shaped like a sharp sword, hovered silently above the Liu estate, blocking out the sun, casting a giant shadow over everyone's hearts. No rotors, no jet vents, just hovering there in utter silence, defying all the laws of physics. That's the interstellar shuttle redeemed from the system shop. Skylaw, civilian beggar version. Though it's the cheapest model, it's more than enough to intimidate the locals on Earth. What is that? Lu Jiahao collapsed to the ground, wet himself. That's the Chuan's ride. He must be an alien. He's really an alien. Even Lu Guan's hands were trembling, but he forced himself to stay composed and roared into the intercom. Anti-air group, fire! Shoot him down for me. The fake mountains around the estate suddenly split open, revealing 4 sci-fi-style laser turrets and 6 sets of anti-air missile launchers. Fire and brimstone lit up the sky. 6 heat-seeking missiles, trailing long plumes, howled toward the black sword in the sky. Right on their heels, 4 high-energy laser beams, like the Grim Reaper's blades, shot directly at the ship's underbelly. This was the Liu family's last stand, the kind of firepower that could destroy an armored division. Yet even faced with this apocalyptic attack, the black ship didn't even bother to raise shields. Only at the bow of the ship, a faint blue light appeared. System command initiated. Physics rules recalibrated. Kinetic energy neutralized. A bizarre sight unfolded. Those 6 missiles flying at Mach 3, when they were just 100 meters from the ship, suddenly stalled like fireworks out of fuel. Their speed dropped to 0 in an instant, and they just plummeted straight down. The missiles landed in the open area of the estate, in the fake mountains and fish ponds. Violent explosions instantly engulfed the Liu family's anti-air defenses. As for the 4 laser beams, when they hit the ship's surface, it was like shining a flashlight at a mirror. They were simply reflected right back. All 4 laser cannons were melted by their own lasers into puddles of metal. In just one exchange, the Liu family's billion-dollar defense line self-destructed. As the smoke cleared, the Liu estate was in ruins, with bodyguards moaning amid the rubble. Lu Guan stood at the entrance to the main hall, covered in ash, staring blankly. His pride and joy Skynet was just gone like that. Just then, the belly of the ship above slowly opened a hatch. 2 figures leapt down from 1,000 meters high. No parachutes, no glider wings, just pure free fall. They're crazy, that's suicide. One of the Liu clan's elders gasped. But when they were still 10 meters from the ground, their descent suddenly defied all inertia. Then they landed gently, not even kicking up any dust. The Chuan and Shen Yanshu. The Chuan wore a black trench coat, with the same business casual suit he'd worn in Jiangcheng inside, while Shen Yanshu had changed into a sharp white tactical outfit, carrying the case with the dragon's head. The 2 stood side by side, amidst the ruins of the Liu compound, looking like deities descending to earth. Old Master Liu, nice to meet you for the first time. The Chuan glanced up at the figure on the stairs. Lu Guan, who seemed to have aged 10 years in seconds, with a faint smile at his lips, hoped the little welcome gift made enough of an impression. Lu Guan pointed at the Chuan, so furious he almost choked on blood. The Chuan, this is Beijing, the capital itself. You dare to use heavy weapons to assault a private residence. That's rebellion. The Chuan just shrugged. Old man, your eyes must be going. It was your Liu family hiding illegal weapons and misfiring, leading to sympathetic detonation. I'm just a helpful civilian who rushed over to put out the fire. With that, the Chuan snapped his fingers. Long Yi, send the video to Security Bureau, came Long Yi's voice from the air. Everything that just happened had already been recorded by the ship's holographic cameras. It really was Liu family who fired first. Then the missiles fell down and blew themselves up. The Chuan didn't even lift a finger. You're shameless, compared to what your Liu family has done. I'm still a long way off. The Chuan's expression turned cold. He stepped forward.
8 elite guards.
Kill them for me, Lu Guan roared. The 8 masters who had been observing exchanged glances with one another. Although the Chuan's entrance was frightening, their martial pride made them refuse to believe that any mortal is unkillable. Kid, don't get cocky. I am Palm. A burly elder shouted angrily. His feet stomped on the tiles. His body shot toward the Chuan like a cannonball. A pair of hands, black as iron, swept a foul wind, aiming straight for the Chuan's skull. This palm strike could shatter stone and break monuments. The Chuan didn't even glance at him. System ability, gravity multiplied by 100. Kneel. The Chuan softly uttered 2 words. This master is still airborne. His body suddenly felt crushed by an invisible mountain. He had no chance to resist. He crashed to the ground in a horribly violent manner. Slammed down hard. He didn't kneel, he fell. His kneecaps shattered instantly. The ground was smashed into a deep pit. His body stuck to the bottom like a sticker. Passed out cold. The whole scene fell silent. The remaining 7 masters came to an abrupt stop. All stared at the scene in terror. Words become law. What kind of level is this? Are you still going to send in a land immortal? The Chuan swept his gaze around. I don't mind turning this place into a morgue. The 7 masters exchanged nervous glances. Suddenly, they backed away in unison, then turned and ran. Are you kidding me? This is obviously not something normal humans can fight. Money is good, but life matters more. A bunch of losers. Lu Guan watched as his worshippers scattered. He was so furious he nearly had a stroke. At this moment, the Chuan had already reached the staircase of Loyalty Hall. He didn't enter directly. Instead, he waved to Shen Yanshu behind him. Yanshu, Give me the item. Shen Yunshu stepped forward, set the box down and opened it. Inside lay an imposing bronze dragon's head, lying quietly inside. Its gaze seemed to judge this decaying family. Lu Guan. The Chuan's voice was cold as ice. This was meant to be the tool your Lu family colluded with outsiders to use, to humiliate our people. Now I've brought it back, and put it here, not as a gift for you, but to teach you a lesson. The Chuan walked up the steps, staring intently at Lu Guan. Dragons are meant to be revered, not sold. Your Lu family isn't worthy. Who lives in this courtyard? Lu Guan looked at the dragon's head, then at the advancing the Chuan. Fear in his eyes finally turned into desperate madness. Fine. Lu Guan let out a screech like a night owl. The Chuan, you think you've won? You think with your high-tech you can control everything. You have no idea about the truth of this world. Lu Guan suddenly reached into his coat, pulled out a black ancient whistle covered in strange runes, and blew it hard. The sharp whistle instantly pierced the whole mountainside. The ground began to tremble. A nauseating stench poured out from the forbidden area of the mountains. A non-human roar echoed through the skies. The mountain wall collapsed with a thunderous crash. A 3-meter-tall, humanoid monster covered entirely in black scales. Its eyes blood red, crawled on all fours, rushed out like an out-of-control tank. Grass and trees withered wherever it passed. Tiles corroded. At this moment, Shen Yunshu's expression changed. A bio-monster. The Chuan, have a look. Lu Guan laughed like crazy. This is the ultimate weapon tyrant, gifted to me by the Freemasons. It was made with ancient biological genes, fused with a T-virus mutant. It doesn't feel pain, unbelievably strong, and its body is highly toxic. The tyrant roared and locked onto the Chuan, leaped forward. Its claws, enough to tear apart a tank, swiped straight for the Chuan's face. Against this bio-monster, the Chuan's expression finally flickered. What he felt was disgust. Is this your trump card? The Chuan shook his head. Too ugly. Just as the tyrant's claw was about to touch the Chuan's pen tip, the Chuan's right hand suddenly lifted. No dazzling light. In his hand, he suddenly held a seemingly ordinary lightsaber. No, that's not a lightsaber. That's a high-frequency particle cutting blade. A household chopping board with a soft Z sound. The Chuan swept his arm in a graceful arc. Time seemed to freeze in that moment. The massive tyrant leaped over the Chuan's head, landing heavily behind him. There was no explosion, no flesh and blood flying everywhere. Just a thin, hair-like red line appeared at the monster's waist. A second later, this so-called ultimate weapon, invincible and immensely strong. Its upper body slowly slid off. The cut was as smooth as glass. Even the internal organs' sliced cross-sections were clearly visible, instantly carbonized and sealed shut by the heat. Not a single drop of blood came out. Instant kill! A true instant kill! Lu Guan's crazy laughter died away. His mouth opened wide enough for a fist. He stared at the twitching corpse on the ground, feeling his worldview collapse. That was a monster the Freemasons spent $1 billion to create. A monster that could withstand rocket attacks. It got sliced up like tofu. The Chuan put away the particle blade, clapped his hands, as if he'd done something trivial. He walked up to the now utterly limp Lu Guan, kicked aside the cane symbolizing family head, and the dragon head cane of power.
Any more? The Chuan leaned down,
staring at Lu Guan's muddy, terrified old eyes. If not, then let's settle the scores. Years ago, your Lu family conspired with the Wu family, set up my father, forced him to suicide and took over the family business. How do you plan to settle that score? Just now you fired a missile at me, tried to silence me. How do you settle this score? Lu Guan's lips trembled. I'm willing. I'll pay you. All of Lu family's money is yours. All the billions are yours. Just spare me my worthless life. Money? The Chuan smiled. The master. You may have forgotten. Right now the thing I lack the least is money. The Chuan stood upright, looked up at the sky. At this moment, the judgment flagship floating overhead suddenly projected a massive holographic screen. On it were extremely detailed pieces of evidence. Proof of the Lu family selling national secrets. Lu family's money laundering records. Audio of the Lu family assassinating competitors. And even Lu Guan just now ordering? The use of banned weapons, caught on surveillance. Meanwhile, across the streets of Beijing, every outdoor screen, phones and computers, all forced to pop up, broadcasting the evidence live. The entire city was shocked. The whole nation was shaken. I don't want this. Lu Guan looked at the contents on the screen, utterly desperate. This will ruin the Lu family's reputation forever. Infamy for generations. Worse than being killed. A strike to the heart. The Chuan said calmly. Lu Guan, I want you to witness with your own eyes the 100-year legacy you take pride in. How it collapses amidst the people's condemnation. The spit and scorn of the masses. With a thunderous crash. At that moment, distant police sirens approached. This time, it's not Lu family's hired protection, but special forces under direct orders from the highest authority. Fully armed SWAT teams. Lu Guan, you are suspected of treason and crimes against humanity. You are now under arrest according to the law. As the cold handcuffs were locked onto Lu Guan's wrists, this powerful tycoon who dominated for half a century finally bowed his proud head. The moment he was escorted into the police car, he took one last look back, only to see the Chuan sitting in that Grandmaster's chair, the symbol of supreme power, holding Shen Yanshu in his arms, and playing with that dragon head statue in his hand. He raised his glass toward him in a toast. It was the posture of a victor, and the coronation of a new king. The Lu family has fallen, completely and utterly, uprooted by the very foundation, with all core members of the Lu family captured, and the cleaning out of their protective umbrellas. The entire power structure of the capital was reshuffled overnight, and the Chuan became the sole taboo. Late at night, the old Lu family estate served as the Chuan's temporary lodging. The Chuan stood at the edge of the cliff on the back mountain, looking down at the brightly lit capital. Shen Yanshu draped an overcoat over him. What are you thinking about? Your great revenge is taken. Aren't you happy? The Chuan shook his head and held her hand. The Lu family may have fallen, but it's not over yet. That monster tyrant just now, that was the work of the Western Freemasons. Furthermore, the Chuan reached into his pocket, pulled out. The black bone whistle searched from Lu Guan's body, his expression solemn. The material of this bone whistle does not belong to Earth. It was crafted from the bones of some high-risk biological entity. Inside, it contains a kind of energy fluctuation that even the system cannot fully analyze. The system just warned me that Earth's coordinates may have been exposed. Shen Yanshu was startled. Exposed to whom? The Chuan looked up at the vast starry sky. The true predators. Just then, the system in the Chuan's mind suddenly emitted an unprecedented, piercing alarm. Warning, warning. Cracks have appeared in the planar barrier. Abyssal aura detected. Invasion coordinates. Target Pacific Ocean Center. Seizing the planar sovereign core and... In the pupils of the host, the Chuan, golden data streams flickered frantically. He took a deep breath and crushed the bone whistle in his hand. It seems there's no time to rest. Yanshu, notify Long Yi. All members of the Shadow Legion, assemble. Additionally, activate all weapon systems of the Heaven's Wrath. We're going to the Pacific. Some guests have come from afar. I need to go and entertain them properly. Pacific Center, Point Nemo. This is the ocean farthest from land on Earth. The seabed here is known by humans as the graveyard of spacecraft. However, today, this sea area known as the Sea of Death was boiling like a cauldron from hell. 10,000 meters in the air, the pitch-black Heaven's Wrath interstellar shuttle was hovering in the clouds, having activated its optical stealth mode. Inside the cockpit, the Chuan stood before the holographic projection console, watching the sea surface below. Beside him, Shen Yanshu wore a form-fitting nano-combat suit. Although she had witnessed the Chuan's various wonders, looking at the data displayed on the holographic screen now, her scalp still felt numb. What is that on the seabed? A city? Shen Yanshu pointed at the screen, at those dense thermal signatures. The screen showed, at 3,000 meters deep below Point Nemo, there stood a massive, dimly green-glowing pyramidal architectural complex. Its scale even exceeded that of Jiangcheng. Countless submarines and underwater mechs were busily moving around like worker ants. This is the true headquarters of the secret Western organization, the Freemasons. The Atlantis fortress. They hid quite deep. The Chuan looked at the giant pyramid, golden light swirling in his eyes. System analysis shows the energy core of this base is undergoing some kind of high-dimensional spatial resonance. They are summoning something? Summoning what? The tyrant was just a watchdog. This time, they are summoning the dog's master. Just then, Long Yi's voice through the neural connection rang out directly. Boss, the enemy has discovered us. Sea surface defense systems activated. Before the words finished, the originally calm sea surface suddenly surged violently. The seawater exploded, and 12 giant metal pillars over 10 meters in diameter rose from the sea, piercing straight into the sky. Immediately after, streaks of blinding high-energy ion beams interwove into an airtight death net, instantly locking onto the heaven's wrath. In the clouds, warning. High-energy strike detected. Energy level. Nuclear detonation grade. The ship's AI emitted a piercing alarm. Finally willing to show your heads? A haughty, cold smile curled on the Chuan's lips. Since they want to play Star Wars, I'll let them see what a dimensional reduction strike looks like. System. Exchange for planetary railgun. God's Flame one-time trial version. Deducting funds. 5. Heavenly secret weapon in position. The Chuan raised his hand and pressed it down lightly toward the sea below. Who said let there be light? In an orbital path 30,000 kilometers away in space, a massive tungsten alloy kinetic weapon platform, disguised as a weather satellite, suddenly adjusted its attitude. A high-density tungsten rod 6 meters long and weighing tons, under electromagnetic rail acceleration, fell toward Earth at a terrifying speed of Mach 20. The atmosphere was instantly torn apart. The extreme heat generated by the tungsten rod's friction turned it into a falling sun. A few seconds later, on the Pacific surface, those 12 metal pillars still spitting death rays, along with the seawater within a 10-kilometer radius, were in an instant completely evaporated by a pillar of destruction descending from the heavens. A delayed roar shattered the eardrums of those in the silence 1,000 miles away. A massive shockwave kicked up a 100-meter-high tsunami, spreading frantically in all directions. And that Atlantis fortress hidden deep on the seabed, its energy shield, flickered violently under this blow, like a candle flame in a gale, on the verge of extinguishing. Inside the undersea fortress, in the core council chamber, the hall was extremely magnificent. On the surrounding walls were carved unspeakable totems of ancient gods. 12 elders dressed in red robes and wearing golden masks were sitting around a circular table. They were the supreme authority of the Freemasons, the 12 of Truth. At this moment, these masterminds who normally manipulated global financial wars and plagues behind the scenes were looking at the constantly collapsing ceiling above, plunged into an unprecedented panic. Rods from God? That's the rods from God. An elder screamed in terror. That's a weapon that only exists in concept. How could the Chuan possess it? Could he be a civilization observer from a higher dimension? We must speed up the ritual. The great elder sitting at the head spoke in a raspy voice. Under his mask, half of his face was rotted away, with black tentacles writhing on it. Only by summoning the Abyss Overlord to descend can we survive? Even if we have to sacrifice the entire Earth, we must preserve our immortality. The sacrifice begins. The 12 elders simultaneously slit their wrists, dripping their blood into a black vortex at the center of the round table. As the blood poured in, the vortex began to spin frantically. Directly pierced through the core shell of the seabed fortress, shot straight up toward the surface, above the ocean. The Chuan frowned. What a disgusting smell. He could sense it. An extremely evil energy was awakening deep under the sea. That energy doesn't belong to Earth. It carried a ravenous hunger, ready to devour everything. Yunshu, you stay on the ship. Activate all shields. The Chuan turned to Shen Yunshu and said, the upcoming battle might get a little messy. You need to stay put. Shen Yunshu grabbed his hand. It's too dangerous. That's 3,000 meters underwater. The Chuan gently kissed her forehead. Don't worry, I have my deep-sea armor. After saying that, the Chuan walked to the hatch. Jumped right out. System activated. Poseidon battle armor equipped. In midair, countless blue nanometal streams covered the Chuan's body. They instantly transformed into a streamlined, deep blue battlesuit. Holding a trident, the thrusters on his back blasted out a ghostly blue ionic flame. The Chuan shot down like a torpedo, plunged hard into the boiling seawater. The moment he entered the water, the surrounding seawater seemed to meet a ruler. It parted automatically to both sides. The Chuan accelerated underwater. His speed was even faster than a hypercannon. Ahead of the torpedo, that gigantic pyramid fortress was now clearly visible. And around the fortress, tens of thousands of bioengineered monsters. Baron-type cyborg giant sharks with gills. Even humanoid octopus creatures were swarming toward him like a hive. The Chuan swung his trident fiercely. Domain control. Absolute zero, centered on the Chuan. The seawater within a kilometer instantly froze solid. Countless monsters rushing forward didn't even have time to open their mouths. Were turned into lifelike ice statues. The Chuan didn't stop moving. Directly smashed through countless ice sculptures. Like a meteorite, slamming hard into the fortress's energy shield. The tip of the trident burst with dazzling golden light. That was antimatter annihilation energy. Indestructible. The energy shield shattered like a soap bubble. The Chuan kept his momentum. Directly pierced through the outer wall of the fortress. Smashed straight into the core council chamber. The dust cleared. The Chuan walked out of the ruins, holding his trident. 12 elders performing a ritual were thrown to the ground by the massive shockwave, covered in soot and dirt. Continue. The Chuan stomped and shattered the elder's mask, revealing the twisted, inhuman face beneath. Why aren't you chanting your spell? Did you forget the lines? The elder looked at the Chuan in terror. Black tendrils inside his body flailed wildly, trying to attack. The Chuan casually struck, nailed the elder to the ground. Golden energy surged through the trident. Those tendrils turned to ashes amid shrieks. Don't be in such a hurry to die. The Chuan coldly looked at the remaining 11 elders. Tell me, what exactly is the abyss? Why did you invite the wolves into your own home? Too late. It's already too late. One elder suddenly burst into manic laughter. The black vortex gate at the center of the round table is already open. The Lord is already watching us. You're all going to die. All will become the Lord's fodder. Before he finished speaking, the black vortex suddenly expanded violently, instantly swallowed the entire round table, then turned into a sky-piercing black beam, directly broke through the fortress's dome, straight up to the clouds. A soul-shaking terror swept over everyone. The Chuan suddenly looked up. Inside that black column of light, a gigantic, scaly, eyeball-covered hand slowly emerged. The hand was enormous. Just a single finger was 100 meters long. Next came an oversized head, an indescribable face, covered in extra eyes. Green acidic fluid dripped from its mouth. Red warning boxes nearly filled the Chuan's field of vision. Level 3 civilization. The Chuan took a deep breath. Interesting. That massive monster did not completely emerge. Only half its body squeezed through, and it nearly filled the entire seafloor. Its countless eyes locked onto the Chuan, emitting a sound that directly affected brainwaves. System owner located. That sound was like billions of bugs crawling inside your mind, driving you insane. Looking for me? The Chuan raised an eyebrow. What are you thinking? Want me to inherit your credit bill? Hand over the original seed. Or face destruction. The monster roared, grabbing at the Chuan with its huge hand. This grab carried the power to bind space itself. No way to escape. The Chuan felt the space around him freeze solid. His body couldn't move at all. This is the power of a level 3 civilization. It's connected to the law of reality. The Chuan, be careful. A terrified scream from Shen Yunshu came through the communicator. Don't panic. The Chuan closed his eyes. Took a deep breath. System, I want to buy a cheat. Host, speak. I want to buy ownership of this dimension. The system paused for a second. It seemed shocked by the Chuan's wild idea. Responding to host. Purchasing the ownership of the entire Earth dimension requires funds of 1 million trillion God wealth points. Host currently has insufficient balance. Who said I wanted to buy Earth? The Chuan suddenly opened his eyes. The golden light in his eyes turned chaotic gray. I want to buy this exact moment. This second's protagonist aura. Host's intent detected. Activating special item. Child of the dimension. Absolute luck. Limited to 10 seconds. Price. All remaining assets cleared. Do you wish to exchange? All assets cleared. That's hundreds of billions. Tens of trillions. The Chuan didn't hesitate. Money can always be earned again. If you lose your life or Earth gets blown up, the game is really over. Transaction successful. Host current balance, 0. Child of the dimension mode activated. During these 10 seconds, you are the absolute ruler of this universe. An indescribable power surged through the Chuan, that imprisoned space feeling shattered instantly. The Chuan moved. He didn't dodge the giant hand but charged straight at it. The trident in his hand vanished, replaced by what looked like a common frying pan. That's right, it's the luck artifact gifted by the system. Get lost, man. The Chuan roared angrily. With the frying pan in his hand, he slammed it hard onto the Abyss Lord's finger. A crisp, resonant, metallic clang. Something unbelievable happened. That monster with star-destroying power, a level 3 civilization's Abyss Lord, was actually sent into a finger fracture by just one hit with the frying pan. The monster let out a howl full of confusion and pain. He couldn't believe it. This defies science. Not finished yet. The Chuan's form flashed. He suddenly appeared in front of the monster's gigantic eyeball. This one is for all the people you killed. A huge compound eye exploded. Green fluid splattered. This hit is because you're too ugly. You scared my Yangshu. Another eyeball burst.
This hit
Is because you made me broke. The Chuan was like a glitched game video. The frying pan in his hand became countless afterimages. In just a few seconds, he smashed the giant face thousands of times. Every attack triggered absolute critical hits. Absolute stun. That Abyss Lord was completely dazed. He even felt a long-lost sense of dread. This human, something is not right. This power is a strike of causality that transcends the rules. Get back to your cesspool. At the final moment, the Chuan leapt high into the air, and with all his might, slammed the pot onto the monster's forehead. Away you go! The Abyss Lord's massive body was actually, by this single blow, forcibly smashed back into that black vortex. I will be back. The monster let out an unwilling roar, but its body fell uncontrollably into the abyss. Taking advantage of the fact that the vortex hadn't closed yet, the Chuan took out from his pocket a dual-vector foil exchanged from the mall, the Youth Edition. It was a piece of paper with a funny face drawn on it. Here's a gift for you, to keep you entertained on the way. The Chuan casually tossed the paper into the vortex. Goodbye. The vortex suddenly contracted. And then, under the effect of that piece of paper, space began to collapse and reduce in dimension. The passage that originally led to the abyss instantly turned into a painting, a flat oil painting suspended in the void. In the painting was the monster's terrified face. Everything returned to calm. Son of the Plane, mode ended. Congratulations to the host for completing the God-slaying achievement. Current assets, 0. The Chuan floated in the empty undersea ruins, looking at the mess everywhere, and the 12 corpses of the elders shattered by the energy waves. He felt his pockets. There really wasn't a single cent left. Not even enough for a taxi back to Jiangcheng. Sigh. Impulsiveness is the devil. The Chuan let out a sigh. Just then, a submarine slowly approached. It was Shen Yunshu, driving the Heavenly Punishment's escape pod down to pick him up. The hatch opened, and Shen Yunshu swam out desperately, hugging the Chuan tightly. We won. We won, the Chuan gave a bitter smile. But Yunshu, I have some bad news for you. What? Shen Yunshu looked at him nervously. I'm bankrupt. I'm penniless now. A true pauper. Shen Yunshu froze for a moment, then suddenly burst out laughing. She cupped the Chuan's face in the water and kissed him. It's okay, you used to support me. Now it's my turn to support you. Don't forget, I am now the chairman of the Wu Group, the Shen Group, and the Atlantic Bank. The Chuan laughed too. Looks like I'm destined to live off a woman. The two surfaced, looking at the long-awaited sunlight. The winds and waves of the Pacific had calmed. However, the Chuan knew this was only a temporary peace. The words the Abyss Lord said before leaving, and the system's prompt about the original seed, all foretold a much bigger secret. What exactly is the system? Why are all those high-risk creatures fighting for it? Detected. Host has completed all combat missions of Phase 2. Ultimate mission unlocked. The origin of the system. Host, please proceed to Death Valley in the Kunlun Mountains. The remains of the previous system host are buried there. The Chuan looked at the virtual panel before him, his eyes narrowing slightly. Remains of the previous host? It seems the ending of this story isn't a simple rich guy's comeback, but a scheme spanning 10,000 years. Yangshu, let's go home and pack up. The Chuan looked at the distant horizon. It's time for our last stop, to uncover the truth of it all. Death Valley, Kunlun Mountains. This place is known as the Gate of Hell. Thunder rages here year-round, and the magnetic field is extremely chaotic. Over the centuries, countless herders and explorers have perished here, leaving no remains behind. Today, however, the thunder here is more violent than ever before. A purple bolt of lightning tore through the sky, striking hard toward the snow-covered valley floor. A pitch-black giant ship, the Heavenly Punishment, ignoring the thunderstorm that could instantly destroy a tank, like a mobile steel fortress, slowly landed in the depths of Death Valley. The hatch opened, cold winds howling. The Chuan walked out holding Shen Yunshu's hand. He was no longer wearing his previous armor, just a simple black windbreaker. But those eyes were deeper than the snow and ice of Kunlun. Is this the end? Shen Yunshu felt a pang of dread, looking at the cattle and sheep bones scattered everywhere. It is the end, and also the beginning. The Chuan looked at the system radar in his hand. On the screen, the dot representing the original seed was glowing a burning red. The location was right beneath their feet. Let's get to work, Long Yi. Yes. The Shadow Legion, already on standby, operated 2 giant laser drills, aiming at the massive black rock at the bottom of the valley, and began the operation. As the rock was melted by the high temperature, a shocking secret was gradually revealed to the world. That wasn't a rock at all. It was buried underground for untold tens of thousands of years. An ancient and magnificent bronze starship. Its design was primitive and desolate, the surface covered in intricate cloud and thunder patterns. The prow was strikingly a fierce dragon head. Despite the erosion of ages, it still exuded a suffocating imperial aura. This is the style of the Qin dynasty. Could it be that the legends of the first emperor's tomb aren't just legends? The Chuan took a deep breath, grabbed Shen Yunshu, and jumped into the cut entrance. Welcome to the first emperor's command ship. The interior of the starship wasn't dark as imagined. The moment the Chuan stepped into the control room, countless ever-burning lamps, actually nuclear fusion cold light lamps, lit up automatically. In the center of the hall stood a throne cast in black gold. Upon the throne sat a withered skeleton wearing a black dragon robe. Even though reduced to bones, He still maintained his hand on a long sword, gazing toward the sky. That aura of accepting fortune or fate, that overwhelming dominance, spanning over 2,000 years, still made one want to bow down. And before the skeleton floated a crystal emitting a soft white light. Known among the systems? Is this your previous host? The Chuan asked softly. Yes, the system replied. That cold, mechanical voice actually carried a hint of human-like weariness. Previous host, Ying Zheng, code name, Ancestral Dragon. System version 1.0, Civilization Hegemony Edition. Cause of death, to resist the first wave of the Abyss invasion. He exhausted all system points, forced his life force beyond its limits, activated the 9 provinces barrier and the Great Wall orbital defense system, and finally died of exhaustion. The Chuan felt a surge of respect. So the building of the Great Wall wasn't just to defend against the Zhongnu, but to defend against the hunters from the heavens. Just then, the original seed suddenly vibrated, and a holographic image projected from the skeleton. It was a majestic middle-aged man. Though only an image, those eyes seemed capable of seeing through time and space. Successor, Ying Zheng's voice echoed in the hall, carrying a heavy ancient Qin accent. When you see this image, I'm no longer here. I unified the 6 kingdoms, standardized the script and the axles. I thought I could bring eternal peace to Waxia, but alas, there is a sky beyond the sky. Those greedy predators, the Abyss, they covet Earth's coordinates. I exhausted the nation's power. The Great Wall of 10,000 miles. Though the railgun arrays have temporarily repelled them, I know that they will eventually return. I have left behind the original seed. It records my unfulfilled ambitions and seals my final legacy. If you are one who cares for the world, then fuse with it and guard this beautiful land for me. The image fades. The Chuan remains silent for a long time, then takes a step forward, reaching out to grasp the original seed. Don't worry, ancestor. The Chuan's eyes are firm. I will fight the battles you didn't finish. The money you didn't finish spending, I'll spend it for you. The seed instantly merges into the Chuan's palm. Countless streams of complex information flood his mind. It is the memory of Ying Zheng, the blueprints of ancient technology, and the defense authorization for the entire Earth. Successful fusion of the original seed detected. Final form of the God-tier Tycoon system. Activating Earth OL Administrator mode. Congratulations, host. You have inherited the legacy of the first emperor. The current account balance cannot be measured by numbers, because what you have inherited is the fortune and historical heritage of all Waxia. Just as the Chuan merges with the seed, a sudden change occurs outside. The sky over the Kunlun Mountains collapses instantly. It is no longer a small rift like before, but the entire sky turning blood red. Countless massive black warships swarm out of the interdimensional rift like locusts. That is the main fleet of the Abyss civilization. They have finally locked onto Earth's coordinates and launched a warning. Warning, planet killer class detected. Engaging 100,000 enemy vessels. Estimated countdown to Earth's destruction, 10 minutes. Shen Yunshu looks at the alarm on her wrist, her face turning pale. The Chuan, can we really stop them this time? Those are 100,000 interstellar warships. The Chuan slowly opens his eyes. His pupils have turned completely golden. It is the majesty belonging to the administrator. He glances at his personal account, which has hit 0, then looks at the system panel, at that legacy account glowing with the nature of a dragon. Legacy account, engage. The Chuan smiles. He smiles with absolute arrogance. Why fight normally? Since my ancestor left me a legacy, it's meant for me to squander. The Chuan leads Shen Yunshu out of the ancient chamber, standing at the highest point of Death Valley, facing the alien fleet pressing down from the sky.
He raises his hand
And snaps his fingers at the sky. System, I want to spend. Please speak, host. I want to buy this segment of history. Awaken the 12 Golden Men Titan mechas. Awaken the Great Wall Star Ring Defense Array. Awaken the Million Chin Shadow Ghost Legion. Payment method: 5,000 years of Waxia's national fortune. Payment successful? Awakening in progress. In the next second, the entire land of Shenju boils over. The ground at the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor in Shan trembles violently. The burial mound explodes. They aren't terracotta. The clay on the surface of those thousands of terracotta warriors instantly peels off, revealing the cold, metallic luster within, of nanometal bodies. Their eyes light up with red glows, and the bronze swords in their hands instantly ionize. An earth-shattering battle cry echoes through the clouds. 1,000,000 mechanical Qin warriors soar into the sky. At the same time, at the Xianyang ruins, 12,000-meter-tall giant bronze mechas erupt from the ground. Every single one of them emits energy fluctuations comparable to a nuclear power plant, holding giant axes and long halberds, like ancient demon gods awakening. Even more shocking is the Great Wall. That ancient wall, winding for 10,000 miles, now lights up with a brilliant golden glow. Bricks and stones fall away, revealing the superconducting magnetic rail, gun arrays buried for 2,000 years. What is this? The commander of the Abyss fleet in the sky looks down at the planet that has suddenly come alive, his tentacles stiffened with fear. Who gave you permission to look down upon my empire? The Xuan's voice resounds globally through the amplification of the seed, and even explodes directly in the minds of every alien. With a wave of his hand, kill. The Great Wall transforms into a golden dragon. Countless antimatter beams soar into the sky, instantly vaporizing the first wave of the alien vanguard fleet. The 12 Titan Golden Men leap into the clouds. With every swing of their massive weapons, they cleave through a 1,000-meter-long mothership. The million ghost warriors of Qin, like a black tide, swarm into the enemy formation, launching a brutal boarding war. This is a massacre across time and space. This is the angriest roar of Earth's civilization against the predators. The Chuan stands at the peak of Kunlun, watching the magnificent fireworks. Yanshu, is it beautiful? Shen Yanshu is already dazed. Tears blur her eyes. It's beautiful. These are the most expensive fireworks I've ever seen. It's not over yet. The Chuan looks at the largest flagship in the sky, the Abyss mothership. Since I'm squandering, let's do it thoroughly. The Chuan raises his hand again. System one last purchase. I want to buy Earth's ascension. Push this planet to a level 4 civilization for me. Confirm payment. Consuming all remaining. Fortune. Loading. Planetary engine. Loading. Quantum shield. Loading. Causal weapon. Earth's ascension begins. A white light bright enough to illuminate the entire Milky Way bursts from Earth's core. In that instant, the Abyss fleet is like snow under the sun, without even a scrap remaining, erased directly by the law of causality. Earth's volume did not increase, but its energy level leaped at this moment. From now on, this blue planet will become a true forbidden zone in the universe. 3 months later, the Abyss has receded, and civilization has restarted. Despite the Great War, under the restoration of the Xuan superpowers, the city has not only returned to its original state, but has become even more sci-fi. The Sky Garden at the top of Skip has now been transformed into a crystal palace floating in the clouds. At the wedding scene, Shen Yunshu wears the wedding dress named Allure of Love. This dress was crafted by the Chuan using core materials from the Abyss mothership, fused with deep-sea pearls. Its value is immeasurable. She's breathtakingly beautiful, holding her father's arm, walking step by step toward the man at the end of the red carpet. The Chuan, now the recognized chief of Earth, the guardian of human civilization, still smiles like a young boy, with only his bride in his eyes. Tang Tang, wearing a flower girl dress, happily carries the train of the dress behind her, smiling so wide her teeth show. Mr. the Chuan, Elder Qian, the efficient, is glowing with excitement. Do you take Miss Shen Yunshu to be your wife? In poverty or in wealth? At the word poverty, the guests below all let out kind laughter. Who in the world doesn't know? Although the Chuan's personal account is 0 now, he owns the entire earth. I do. The Chuan gazed into Shen Yunshu's eyes and said affectionately, Miss Shen Yunshu, will you marry Mr. the Chuan? No matter if I do. Before Mr. Qian could finish, Shen Yunshu quickly replied, causing the whole audience to burst into laughter. Surrounded by a shower of petals and cheers, the two embraced tightly and shared a deep and loving kiss. At that moment, the long-missed system notification sounded in the Chuan's mind. Congratulations, host, for completing all main missions. The godly Tycoon system's mission is complete. We will now depart to seek the next spark of civilization. Farewell gift. Retaining host's golden eye and enhanced physique abilities. Goodbye, host. May you live a lifetime of happiness. In this world you bought with your own hands. The Chuan froze for a moment, disconnecting from the system that had accompanied him from being a delivery man to rising against all odds and becoming king of the world. It's really leaving now. A faint sense of loss welled up inside him, but soon he felt at ease, because he felt Shen Yunshu's warmth in his arms, heard Tang Tang's laughter, and saw the sincere blessings from everyone below the stage. He no longer needed the system. He already possessed the most precious treasure in this world. What's wrong? The Chuan. Shen Yunshu noticed him and softly asked about his distraction. The Chuan snapped back to reality, looked at the woman he loved so deeply in front of him, and showed the brightest smile. It's nothing, it's just that my private savings got confiscated. Shen Yunshu burst out laughing, leaned in close to his ear, and whispered breathily, It's okay, tonight I'm all yours. Plus, I've deposited the 100 billion the company earned into this card, and the password is your birthday. Shen Yunshu quietly slipped a card into the Chuan's hand. The Chuan looked at the card in his hand, then at his shy and blushing wife. He suddenly thought that being a kept man isn't bad at all.
Honey.
Let's go on our honeymoon. Where to? The Chuan looked up at the vast starry sky. I heard sunsets on Mars are beautiful. Since we own Earth now, let's go develop Mars while we're at it. You're such a spoiled spendthrift. The sunlight was just right, and the breeze was warm and gentle. The Chuan held Shen Yunshu in his arms, as the whole world watched, walking toward their happily ever after, and the legend of the ultimate tycoon.